Welcome to Table Goth. Tonight, we are serving Vampire the Masquerade, specifically final course of Heaven and Hedonism, our Cult Chronicles session. Here at Table Goth, we share stories best told in the dark. We have discussed our boundaries. Safety tools are in place for the cast, but given the improvisational nature of the story, we cannot predict all content that will be explored. But you can expect violence, cults, manipulation, spiciness, and Adrian abuse. We have gathered to tell a dreadful tale, so please take care of yourselves as you keep this in mind. Joining us at the table, in the order I'm looking at them, are Raven.
Hi, I'm Raven. I play Riafine, who is the biggest Adrian hater we know. Fuck Adrian. Adrian needs to die in 2022. Cheers.
We have Chastity.
Hey everyone, I'm Chastity. I play Thalia, and I'm on the hate Adrian train. If Riafine doesn't get him, I certainly will.
And we have April.
Hello, I am April. I play Della. Also in the We Hate Adrian fan club. I serve as acting treasurer right now, but we're going to be holding elections for the board soon. But we're all here to get Adrian and kill him. Not like to keep him, but to like murderize him. Like, what's the worst way you can kill a vampire? That is what we would like to do.
Sure, you'll figure it out. And then there's me, Bully, the storyteller. I get to play Adrian and all the lovely NPCs that you will be seeing in this story that are the only things protecting me from these players. Now, please, have a seat. Mind your manners. The table is set. Our ritual begins now. Last time, we opened up with a Nosferatu being made traditionally quite beautiful by some sort of weird glowing light from this angel, this host of this event. Immediately, Adrian, being the gentleman he is, asked that individual to dance. And dance they did. And the angel was pleased, and everyone felt the pleasure, the acceptance of this angel, and it felt good. And as all this started happening, the dancing picked up. Our coterie gathered to discuss their findings and talk about all the weird shit that was going on here. After that, Mr. Harris Effington stepped in to once again talk to Della and ask Della for a dance, as he seems almost infatuated with her, and finally feels someone has seen some self-worth in him, seen past his looks and his money and his status. It's a whole new lease for him, and he's ready to rock it. And Della surprisingly danced extremely well with him, just really sealing the deal that this is, whatever this is, it's meant to be, and it's not going to be a problem for anybody. Speaking of dances and problems, Miss Grace Roseridge, the one Thalia noticed moved like an assassin, had also spotted Thalia staring at her, so she asked Thalia to dance, and dance they did. Very very spicy dance, which eventually led to some discussion and led to Thalia getting quite thirsty or hungry, literally, as the beast started to take control. But Grace, being the kind individual she is, opened herself and had Thalia drink from her just right there on the dance floor, which is rude, which is a problem, as Adrian and some others were trying to point out, but of course our coterie stepped in, Riafine specifically, to let him know to back the fuck off, and things are changing. And Phaedra even said that this is sort of was sort of convinced to be okay with this as well. These new ideas, these new way of doing things aren't necessarily need to be shut down. So that happened. And then our mortals were brought in. And one by one were introduced, starting with Riafine, who introduced Callum. Adela introduced Victor, then Thalia introduced, you're the one name I'm going to blank out on. What's your touchstone's name? Elizabeth DuPont. See, I remember the last name. All doing very, very well, surprisingly, with their introductions, showing their unique relationships with their mortals and how this can be an extension or a sign of how, should they be in charge, will handle the sort of not only ruling the kindred society, but of course it's impossible to have kindred society without mortals. That happened. Everything was great. But Adrian introduced his mortal, which turned out to be one of the women working for Riafine that he had paid her for, because he said there's some incident that she was no longer with us. But it turns out she was still alive and well, and now seems, as Riafine noticed, dominated, or some sort of vampiric power has been used to bring her to his side. As he enjoyed sort of that little show and tell. But then Phaedra started the next phase, the true celebration phase of this. Encouraged everyone to sort of sate their curiosity and explore not only themselves but each other and what it means to be who they are and in this place, and talked about how pleasure and pain are enlightening experiences that should be sought out, and that beauty is more than skin deep. There's no beauty in monstrous actions, and they hope to make the world reflect the beauty of their angel. And with this, another song played, and things got spicy. Dancing happened. Other kind of dancing started happening. People started spreading out. It wasn't just the dance floor. People weren't just relegated to the ballroom anymore. The rest of the place was open. They were allowed to explore the grounds or wherever else they wished to go. Many people did just that. Della and Thalia left their touchstones in this place to keep an eye on things. Della leaving her blood homunculus with her touchstone, and Thalia having hers watch Adrian's mortal, aka the one stolen from Riafine. Riafine took Callum with her. As our three split up, Della was beckoned away by Margaret Giovanni, who led her upstairs into a library where the doors were closed, and she found herself in a room full of spirits, wraiths, whatever you want to call them. Thalia spotted someone that was the last person she assassinated. Recognizing this person and following them, she ran into Grace again, only to realize Grace was the one who looked like her former victim, because Grace can change what they look like, because Grace is a Zamizi, who is here to punish Thalia on behalf of the Sabbat. And then Riafine was explored outside the grounds with Vera Volgan, our Russian ambassador type person, who led her to sort of the zoo-like area, though she left Callum behind to stand guard, where her sister is being kept in a cage. And it became obvious why, as her sister reached for the bars, was hurt by the silver bars, and began to involuntarily transform into what seems to be a werewolf. All of these things happening at once is where we will begin. Starting with Thalia. You're in a room upstairs, purposely led away from some of the rest of the party. It's Thalia just turned, her face slowly sort of shifting back into Grace, who you'd seen before, who has these large, dark eyes, full lips, abnormally rigid sort of cheekbones and jaw, and a strong nose. But most distinct is this sharpened, jagged bone that has grown from under her wrist and forearm, and that she has lunged out towards you. How would you like to respond?
So I have a quick question.
Yes.
Do I recognize this version of Grace from my Sabbat days? Maybe from my pack, or perhaps the court itself. Do I recognize them at all?
Yes. Because your pack was one designed to do things like this. Your pack was chosen, and you had your Valdery to connect this group of quite dangerous kindred, so you would not kill each other, and instead could be used as an extension of the Sword of Cain to kill enemies of the Sabbat. She was a former... Well, this version you see now, you recognize her as a former packmate of yours. Yes.
Okay. I think that the first thing that occurs is Thalia's dress itself begins to shift and move, and you see these tendrils shifting over her body. The bottom part from about her mid-thigh begins to pull away, revealing that really she technically only has on like a slip dress, and that shadows themselves make up the design of what she was wearing earlier. The parts that pulled away allow for her to have far more range of movement. The sleeves pull away and cross over her chest, creating almost like a train of shadow behind her. And she is going to activate her arms of Ahriman. Because you said that Grace is lunging, yes?
Yes, Grace is attacking.
Okay, cool. I'd like to, with the arms.
So the arms will take one turn to summon. So do you want to defend yourself while you...
Oh, yes. So, okay,
summon
if that
these?
is the case, yeah, if that is the case, I am going to, I'm going to dodge as I summon the arms. And then just so you know, the intent is with the arm to take one of them and essentially bat her up against the wall.
Sure.
She's sort of in the air.
To dodge will be a Dex Athletics. 7 successes. Which is more than I got. So, as she just lunges, going for just straight for the torso, you just redirecting, spinning out of the way as she goes past you, the dress sort of melting away as the shadows leave, leaving you much more open and maneuverable for this encounter. As she sort of stands and spins on her heel, your shadows have now formed and your arms of Ahriman are ready, which also take a rouse check, actually. So do another one for those.
Okay. All right. I'm going to have to mute myself really fast.
Yeah. Another failure. So she's going to be at 4 hunger. So as these two stare each other down with 4 hunger, let's move to Della. Della, you're in a library. Lots of lavish furniture, reading desks and comfortable chairs, walls lined with bookshelves, covered. There's not a single empty spot on these shelves for any more books. As the rigid and stern face, Margaret Giovanni, stares at you, the door having just shut firmly behind you. You can't see them. Actually, you can see them. You have sensed the unseen. As you can just see sort of, right now they look like shadows, or maybe camouflage a little bit, just differences in the way light reflects on certain things, strange silhouettes sort of moving around the room a little bit. Nothing that is fully appariated quite yet. And she stares at you. You have been profiting off of grieving victims, making a mockery of communicating with these poor, forlorn spirits, and passing on false messages to their loved ones. Well, now some of them have a message for you. I can help them pass this along, or perhaps I can arbitrate the situation. It all depends on you. I intend to set a firm foundation for my family here in the United Kingdom. I've been gathering allies in the Shadowland, doing my reconnaissance. It's plain to see by the events that have unfolded this evening so far that you and your friends are vying for power too, and you seem well positioned to do so. I applaud you for that. But I am afraid I will need one of the positions on the triumvirate for myself. This leaves you with two options. Assist in my claim, and I will treat you in kind once I am in the triumvirate. Or you may act as an obstacle and be removed as such.
As she's talking, Della doesn't actually flinch at the ghosts. Instead, pulls out her fan and starts unbuckling something from her hip. And it's a bell, like a little bell with multiple on it. And she gently shakes it against her hip and pulls her fan out and starts moving her arm. Your people aren't the only ones who have been trained to talk to ghosts. What I do is not for them. It is to help the families move on. The real messages would not help anyone. And she rings the bell again. And her accent is getting heavier and heavier as she flicks her arm. My people have been talking to ghosts far longer than I have been what I am now. And she starts muttering kind of deeper in Korean and gets closer and starts speaking in Korean. Nigo Mande, which translates to who do you think you are? As I get close to her. We can talk, but we cannot threaten each other. And she rings the bell again. And this is not a threatening ritual that she is performing, but a kind of cleansing, calming ritual that she had been taught from a child when she would train as a shaman in Korea, which is where she got the abilities to read about death cults.
Yeah, so Della's understanding of the dead come from very real-rooted traditions shared by mortals and passed down. Della doesn't possess oblivion or the ability to sort of have a power in her blood to force her will or do ceremonies to control these things. But that doesn't make them any less viable necessarily. So if you'll give me an intelligence occult, and you can add your specialty to this, because specifically would be around groups and religions that deal with death, to see how effective this ritual is, and even if this is able to sort of transcend cultures to have an effect on these spirits gathered here. And you may blood surge if you wish.
And again, this isn't necessarily a threatening ritual.
Yeah, just to sort of ease the because these spirits have been are anything but calm at the moment.
3, but I got 2 10s.
Yeah, so it's
then
5
2,
successes is made to 7 successes because it's a critical, and it's not even a messy critical. She wants them to be angry though, so we're gonna roll against this.
No.
Just barely. Something about the your force of will, the this ritual, your intention, some of the small ceremony with the bell that you've incorporated into this seems to have that effect. You can feel sort of a stillness sort of settle in the room. Not necessarily a calm stillness, but like a breath, a catching of breath, a pause, where the next thing is the inhale to whatever's going to come after. But for now, it's had the intention that you wanted it to have, or the effect you intended it for it to have. as she stands there, sort of fingers clasped, glances around. A darkness sort of overtaking her eyes. Interesting. Seems there is something to your ceremonies as well. Unsurprising. Really, what is surprising is that you actually know what you're doing.
I'm here to help the grieving. The truth does not always help.
There's wisdom in that.
If you would like to talk about power, the future, then let's talk. But we don't need to put on shows.
Let's talk. They can stay. They can listen.
That is fine by me. I was not trying to get rid of them.
So, impressive. Makes me all the more hopeful that you will see the right path to take here. A path of assisting myself.
What makes you think you deserve the power here?
My family have accomplished much in a short time. We have gone up against kindred older, more powerful than Mithras even. So it is only right that we get a foothold here in the new order as well.
I don't deny that you have done lots. What changes would be made?
Depends. We are in the... We have two
What are
goals,
your
really.
goals?
Our goal is to understand death more intimately, better. To have full reign, to study and do whatever it is we wish in the pursuit of these studies, to understand the Shadowlands and those that dwell within them. On the mortal side of things, we are very, very good at making lots of money as well. Death and money are two very powerful forces in this world.
I agree. Would you be open to speaking with the rest of my friends? I have no intention or want of real power. I want to be able to do what I'd like, travel where I'd like, and study what I'd like.
You would be willing to give up your place in the triumvirate if it were to come to that, so I may take it.
I'm
You
willing
can
to
convince
discuss it with
your
my friends.
friends that this is the right way to do so.
We could. It is up to them if they want to accept you.
I'm interested in your help on this. I appreciate the opportunity, but I'm looking for a little more than an opportunity.
I have no control over their will. They do what they want. They like who they want, and they talk.
They respect your opinion, right? Can you
They
not
do.
put
And
in
I
a
will
good
bring
word
you to them
then?
and talk with you. And them, but I will make no promises on their behalf. They all know how I feel. If I were to take a seat of power, it would be with them and to support them, because that is what they wish.
So you will not vouch for me, but you will let them pass their own judgment.
Yes. Bringing you to them and vouches for that you. Walking out of here together vouches for you.
Small gestures, but appreciated ones. But I wonder if we can't accomplish something more. Give me a
Talk through our plans and we'll figure it out.
charisma persuasion, please.
Ugh.
2 successes. Yes, she nods. Yes, this is a good start. And you seem close to your friends. They trust you. Your presence, your opinion, it will carry weight. Yes.
I'd like to believe so. I'd like to believe that we trust each other.
That is the one area that I find myself lacking, especially in this place. I do not have anyone I can necessarily trust.
Do you think they welcomed me in here with open arms? Do you think other vampires were happy to see a Tremere walking through the city? Our clan is just as hated as yours. Lady Riafine, Madame Riafine took me in without hesitation. Dahlia stood by my side from the moment I got here, never once questioning who I was or where I came from. It sounds like you need to make friends, and these are two excellent people to start with. But blocking people in rooms and threatening them is never a good way to start. This will give you a fresh start with them.
Very well. I do have some friends, though. And I think my friends would work well with you. Can you please give me a resolve plus intelligence?
3.
With this, you feel your body go rigid. And then this swirling sort of smoke rises, twists in the air, and then goes into your mouth. As you have just swallowed a wraith. And then you're looking around the room. You're looking at your hands. As if you're looking at them for the first time, getting a feel for them. You know what's going on, but your body is not your own to control at this moment. Margaret Giovanni looks closer to you. Good. Your presence should hopefully serve me well, but I cannot be taking any risks. Hopefully you'll come to understand. Let's go talk to your friends then. And then you kind of do a stiff nod. And you turn and begin to follow her. Outside, you watch as a woman, looking just like a younger version of Vera Volgan, transforms into this massive lupine creature, snarling, howling, ripping at their skin as it seems to be going through something quite painful. The palms in their hands, even though they've transformed and her hands have turned into these massive claws, still have clear burn marks from the bars, the silver bars she had latched onto. You see Vera herself, eyes wide, press herself against the bars, which don't hurt her. She looks in, and then looks back at you. I was hoping to get to her before this. Will you help?
Of course, just step back. And I kind of like put my hand kind of like in front of her, and I'm going to use Eyes of the Beast. So I'm not taking on my full form just yet, but my intention is to almost intimidate this new fledgling wolf into submission as their alpha.
Okay. Huh. Okay. That's a choice. A choice that I love. This will give you a bonus to your intimidation rolls. You both have some sort of beast inside of you. Let's see if yours is more powerful than hers. So, and this is just sort of a force of will thing. You're not trying to trick or anything. It's just gonna be a straight charisma intimidation. Add 2 dice for Eyes of the Beast.
All right, give me a second.
Blood surging is an option here. Something I'd recommend because intimidating a werewolf into saying you're the stronger beast is not easy, but
So
I love this.
Intimidation, charisma.
Yes, and add 2. Unless you want to rouse the blood, then you'd be adding 4.
I will rouse. So let me roll that first. Okay, come on. Roll 20. Jesus.
Successful. So you don't get hungrier. So now just
Okay.
intimidation, charisma +4. I'm gonna roll my. Oh, all those dice and 3 successes. You do have willpower. You've not spent any willpower, so
I'm gonna do a willpower read.
Oh, and you got all 3 of them, changing your
Yes.
3 to a 6. So what do you say? What do you do here? What's this look like? Is your eyes of the beast, your eyes take sort of this predatory, but also like a reddish tint, um, as you step in.
I am not actively speaking. I am growling, but very low, and it's very guttural. It's almost a growl that gets stuck in the throat, and though it is heard, it is an indication in which I'm letting her sister know that I am in charge and that she is safe. It is kind of like that growl that a mother wolf would give to their young. That's essentially what I'm trying to do.
So you step up to the bars, letting out this noise, this intimidating, low but very purposeful growl. As the transformation finishes, and you see just heavy breathing from this creature, it looks up, just snarling, just foam and saliva dripping from its maw, and with this sort of massive arms, just puts them in the dirt and uses it to launch itself forward, crashing into these thin bars that separate you and it. It burning the skin, but her getting right up to where if she had wanted to, she easily could have snapped and taken your face, but you don't even take a step back. You don't flinch. You don't do anything but continue to stare as she gives that warning snap, which you just take. And then almost forehead to forehead, even though the forehead your forehead is against is many times over larger than yours. There's your presence, your dominating nature is felt even in this primal way to this creature. Takes a step back. Parts of its fur burnt a little bit from pressing against the bars. And is still there, is still letting out sort of a low growl. But is watching, is waiting rather than attacking. You see Vera just look in bewilderment towards the two of you.
I don't break eye contact, but I start speaking to Vera. And I say, now, darling, would you be okay if I shared a bit of myself with her?
Please, do what you must.
So I take the ring that's on my finger, that's kind of like that little knife, and I just make a little cut. And I hold my hand out, and I reach into the cage. And I'm still maintaining eye contact, and at this point, I start growling again, almost to like indicate that I am friendly and I am helping and that she is safe, and this is that truce.
So you offer a little bit of blood for pushing it through the cage so you can get to it unharmed. Werewolf head comes closer. Again, easily could snap your arm off if she wanted to, but instead sort of sniffs and recoils. And the growl happens again, and she looks. And you just hear a guttural as she attempts to talk, but the tongue isn't quite made for that in this form. Something that sounds like worm. Vera looks at you. We, by our nature, we spoke earlier about enemies of a primal sense. What she is now, her blood will make her see us as tainted. Our blood will not be good for her.
I am well aware.
the effect that she is not destroying us on sight is, well, astonishing and promising and impressive.
I nod once, still maintaining eye contact. And I kind of start growling again, this time even. It's almost in an octave that is barely audible to humanoid ears.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to command her sister to just like, not even drink, but like lick. Like, I'm going to help you, but you have to help me because you will die if you don't. I'm not going to hurt you. I want to keep you safe.
So is your intention to feed her some blood to help heal her?
Yes.
So, yeah, with this, and she comes a little closer, sniffing again, but you can see she's repulsed by the blood again. And yeah, Vera will just sort of put a hand on your shoulder from behind you. No, our blood is poison to them. What it does to mortals, it will not do for her.
I nod, and then I take that hand out and put my other hand in, and I kind of offer it to like place on her forehead.
She allows you to.
We're going to get you out of here. But in turn, you cannot attack me. You cannot attack your sister, your clanmates. There will be kindred you can. But patience.
In this form, I'm not sure she'll be able to tell the difference between much of us. Are you able to calm her further?
I can do my best. At this point, I'm not trying to go full beast, but like I almost want to show off a little bit so that way it kind of builds that trust, right? We're still trying to build that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I essentially have a foot in both worlds, and I need her sister to trust me completely. So I am going to start I'm going to close my eyes, just breaking the eye contact for a second. And I almost bite my lip so hard to keep myself from screaming because I don't want it to echo, but I'm going to allow my face to elongate just slightly. So
Okay.
There's a crackle of bone and the splitting of flesh, and it sound like there's a wetness to the sound as the corners of my mouth slit all the way back to my ears, and from my nose down to around my chin just starts to crack and extend.
It's interesting here because there's two sets of powers you have. One is this beast, the other is your power of presence, where you could make this person completely entranced with you. You can use your powers to essentially much easier to sort of calm, control this individual, but you want them to trust you for what you are.
Yes.
A more difficult thing to accomplish, but a more true bond.
Exactly.
So, let's make this a resolve protean roll. So at the bottom next to your protean, I already punched it in there. You just should be able to hit the dice thing.
Okay.
You can also rouse the blood for this. And I
And
will
then
say, so add 2, and because of you've already sort of what you've already established initially, sort of putting her in this thing. I will say you get to add another 1, so I had 3 total to this. 5 successes.
That's
5 successes. So you, elongating as you describe, pushing your face a little bit. Vera even taking a step back, almost confused, almost second guessing herself what you are, but showing this to the other Volgan sister, who sort of comes and almost like touches like snouts, like maw to maw for a moment of these two creatures. Takes a sniff, which again, you smell like death. You're a creature of the worm, according to them, but there's a something familiar, just barely perceptible in it, which is enough to make her not feel like a caged animal and perhaps someone that may be rescued or may finally be freed, or someone is here to help. So there's someone here that is not strictly an enemy, and all she has been surrounded by has been enemies for a long time. And that comfort is enough to make her just start bones cracking, shrinking, fur falling off. She begins to shrink down into the form she was before. This much more meager, less impressive physically of a specimen. Human-looking individual. Just sort of covers herself and is just kneeling on the ground now, looking quite confused. None of this makes sense. Actually, she wants to be. She speaks in Russian, which Vera will translate to. She's confused, and she'll talk back, and she'll have a few exchanges back and forth, and says, Before I tell her what you want completely, I don't want her used as a weapon or a pawn in this. I want her to be safe. Whatever's happening in there is not my concern. But I understand. Perhaps I owe you for your assistance in this. But I still am unsure about bringing her into a den of our kind.
As like they're speaking and as Vera's talking to her, there are tears that are pouring from my face as like my jowls, if you will, start retracting inward. There are little bits of blood from the corners of my mouth that kind of just like fall onto my dress, and I very delicately wipe that and the tears, and there's a lot of restraint and there's a lot of very visible pain. And I look to Vera. I take a deep breath and I say, I promise I would never use anyone, including you or your sister, as a pawn, in a way that will not benefit you as well. My goal here is not to put people in places that I feel they need to be, but to genuinely ensure safety for those who find themselves on the outside. Now, please understand that took a lot of energy and I'm feeling a little weak. And this is not to be spoken of. And I kind of like let out a little bit of a whistle to like indicate to Callan to come over, like everything is okay. And as he does, I would take like a cloak from his shoulders and try to give it to...
He does not get there.
Oh, he doesn't get there.
You give the whistle.
Okay.
You wait a moment. Farah nods in understanding. Relays the message. Lets you know she will help us. Then a moment passes. Then another moment. And finally, Callum appears. Although, on a closer look, that's not Callum. It's two individuals. One in sort of in like coattails and a nice outfit, dressed like the rest of the band, and one of the other ones is dressed in sort of the white robes of the servant. Each has blood on their clothes. The servant is just sort of holding their jaw, which is clearly broken.
What are you doing here?
The one that was dressed like one of the band members points, forgot a little something, as you crying, Kindred cry blood, so you have blood on your face. She says, yeah, she's one of them, as he removes a stake from his belt. Back to Talia. Your arms of Ahriman are out and ready. You have passed Vera turns on her heels, her other arm extending one of these bony protrusions as well.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Athalia looks, she's hungry and feeling very upset about one of her former packmates coming after her. And so under her breath is almost this hiss of filthy canite. And one of the arms snaps from sort of undulating behind her and is going to grab the wrist that has the protruding bone. And the intent is to snap it. Yes. Thalia, with more of her skin revealed, there is scarring all over her body. Some is from fights that she may have gotten into or things she may have done when she was mortal that just never healed. But there are others that look almost ritualistic, that look not of most kindred. In fact, it speaks to her true beliefs. She has symbols. I'm so sorry, you guys. I need to take a second.
You're good. We could pick up there, and we'll just jump back over to our dear friend Della then.
I'm in danger.
Indeed. So, I will say you can do another roll to get your body back, but you get one per scene, so you have one chance at this. If it fails, you get willpower damage. It's up to you when you want to attempt to do this. You could try to do it right now, or you can wait and try to take control at a more opportune moment. It is entirely up to you.
How much control do I have over my body right now?
None.
0. I'm none.
You're aware. You see
Okay.
and stuff like that. You can see everything that's happening, but you can't speak, move, do anything. You're just like a passenger, a spectator in your own body.
How much does the wraith that's in my body know about me?
Nothing.
Okay.
Your mind is still yours. You don't feel anything
Okay.
in your mind besides like whatever part of your mind is like in control of your functions has been just like cut off. You feel
Okay.
like you're being like puppeted more so than like dominated.
I might give this a moment to see what happens,
Okay.
because Della has kind of kept her head down the whole time, and I feel like the whatever's just took me over won't know Della's mannerisms.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here.
Giveaway. Actually, oh fuck it, I'm doing it now.
Okay,
Doing
so
it now. I'm doing it now.
I will
I'm-
say
I
so.
can't have control over me.
This happens. You begin walking out. The doors open,
Mhm.
and you see Lord Effington. There you are. Been looking everywhere. A lot going on, and even though there's so many distractions, I just keep thinking about you. And there's a lot of things to do in there, I just I prefer your company, if that's not too forward for me to say. And I hope you feel the same. And he just begins talking. So if this is a time you want to take over, you certainly may.
Is the wraith doing anything? I kind of now want
You can hear yourself say, "Oh, that's so kind of you." He just sort of places a hand, does a couple pats, and says, yes, thank you for saying. I was hoping we could maybe find a moment alone together. And not in that way, though I'm not opposed to that way either, but that ball of yours, the thing that happened, and I can almost see them again through your veil. I don't want to remove your veil, of course, but just everything about I'm fascinated and I need more. If you will do me the honors, of course. You hear yourself say, oh yes, simply wait in that room and I will be with you shortly. I have something pressing at the moment. And he looks and he sees Margaret as well, and Margaret sort of gives him a forced smile. And he goes, Miss Giovanni, excuse me, I didn't know that you were... what were you doing? She's talking, and now we need to talk elsewhere. Goodbye. And you just see him just sort of look puzzled and looking. He says, and he just sort of leans in. You hear him whisper, I hope he's not troubling you, is she? At any point you want to try to take over again?
Yeah, no, I'm trying.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do.
But I kind of also enjoyed watching you flirt with yourself, and I was gonna let that go on as long as.
Thank you. I gotta take it where I can
beautiful.
Get it. So it's resolve intelligence.
I would like to do the thing where I make myself stronger. Rouse the blood.
Rouse the blood. Do a blood surge, which is
so I hit the little rouse button.
Little rouse button. Yep.
Little rouse button. 0.
That means you failed. You're gonna get hungrier by 1, but after your roll. So make your resolve intelligence roll. Add 2.
7.
7.
My hunger goes up to 1, so my hunger is at 3.
As that urge, that anger, that annoyance with you being taken over starts to rise, but you're able to stay yourself for the moment, and then completely stay yourself as you are struggling. You kind of move, and there's like a physical fight. You start sort of moving a little erratically for a second. Are you okay? And he sort of helps steady yourself. And then there's like almost like a violent, like you almost like throw yourself into a wall. And he's very quick. He moves to the other side and like catches you, puts himself between you and the wall, and sort of what has gotten into you? But you are yourself now.
Shit, do I want to do that? The second I'm back up. That bitch! And I am... Is that one or that one? So, okay. I come back. I'm in the hallway. I only see...
So you're like right in the threshold of the door. The door's open. You're like in the threshold of the door.
Can
So
I
you're not
see
fully
the
out.
party?
No. You've been the library is not near the ballroom.
I am going to yell at her, and as I'm yelling at her, I am going to... Oh, when I do that, I'm doing corrosive vitae. No, that doesn't hurt vampires, does it? That doesn't hurt kindred. I would not do that. Oh my god. Now I'm gonna start fighting. This is when I'm gonna start fighting. Now I gotta figure out what to fight. I thought I had more time. I'm doing blood object. Fuck it. I'm doing blood object.
What object are you creating?
Like a blood shiv.
Okay.
But here's the thing. I don't necessarily care if I actually miss the stab. I'm more intent on getting the blood on her. So even if I miss her completely, like to injure her, I would try to angle it so my blood gets on her skin.
Okay. Give me for a blood object, so it's a rouse check, and then make a craft plus blood sorcery. 2, I mean, a shiv is not complicated. 2 is enough just to create just like a sharpened, so you cut yourself, and as the blood pours, you catch it as it hardens in your hand, and this is just this very simple, crude, but sharpened chunk of this red, solid blood.
Yes.
She looks, Lord Effrington looks at you, looks at her, she rolls her eyes. Fine, we will have to do it this way. Grandson, stake them. And you see from deeper within the room, aiming what's like a modified crossbow to be able to hold like these thick, full stakes, not just bolts. This quite cumbersome object. But he is going to aim and fire. And you will, at this moment, you have the thing. You want to try to be defensive, or you want to try to get some of your blood on her?
I want my blood on her.
Give me. Oh man, you're not good at this. But
No.
we'll see. You're just trying to get it on her. You're not trying to actually hurt her. So we'll see how this happens.
It just says expose her to my blood. So.
Yeah. Let's see what happens. A lot's going on here. Give me. I mean, really, this would be like a dex. You're trying to throw it. Anything that can be athletics or brawl or melee, none of which you have. So just do a dex roll. You can surge for that. I'd recommend it. It'll be slightly easier since you're just trying to touch her and not like damage her. But
1, so I don't get hungry.
You don't get hungry. So now add 2 to this.
3.
3 successes. Excellent. Margaret is not very quick. Many things happen in this situation. That stake is loosed from the crossbow, comes flying at you right as you just launch this shiv. Which she moves out of the way, but it still like glances, cutting her dress, getting her arm a little bit, but not like damaging her. Just, like I said, mostly just getting a smear of her blood mixed with your blood from the actual blood object that cut her. She just turns and looks at you, satisfied with herself. And then frustration on her face, as there was like a blur, literally like in your peripherals barely saw it as you knew the stake was coming, but it was intercepted by Lord Effrington, who is a very fast Toreador. Who just turns and looks at you and just gives you like a nodding approval as his eyes are fluttering and he's falling as there is a stake plunged in his heart as he goes to his knees. Magic starts to say something to you and drops in torpor. As her grandson, her ghoul, begins loading another one, and her eyes go back of her head as her hands raise as she begins trying to direct another spirit against you. Though she's gonna have to redo this because you've calmed them all except the one that she had bound.
What
would you like to do? You imagine it will probably take him a turn to like load and ready this thing.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start running, but before I start running, I grab one of the vials off my dress and smash it against her and run. And it is one of my addictive vials. So if she chases me into this room, there's gonna be a problem. I'm gonna make her everyone's problem.
So it'll be the same thing. It'll be another kind of death athletics. She's not going to let you just walk up and smash something. She's going to try to get away, but she's also in the middle of doing something, so it won't be.
That's what I'm hoping.
Incredibly difficult, but also not good at this. So let's see what happens.
Rouse again. 0. Oh fuck! I just hurt myself.
Hunger 4. 2. 2 is fine. 2 is enough to clumsily sort of smash this vial for your addictive vitae. Prepared ritual onto her. Please read what that does. What I have for you.
The caster creates a substance that activates upon contact with the victim's skin. This makes the target especially alluring to kindred. Any kindred who make a hunger frenzy checks within sight of the target does so at a 3 dice penalty and must attack the target if they fail. Any kindred at hunger 4 above must make a hunger frenzy test when first within sight of the target.
So you know I'm going to ask you for now.
Frenzy check.
A hunger frenzy test.
And a 3 dice penalty.
You smashed it on her, but unfortunately doing so caused you to rouse the blood and be hunger 4, so you might be the thing that eats her. Let's see.
That's fine. How do I?
So there's a frenzy at the bottom. Dang. You got 3 success, 3 out of 3 on that. Lucky. Fucking lucky. Excellent. You smash this thing. The beast is almost like, it's almost like your puppet again. As you take an involuntary step towards her, your fangs start to come out. As you, not only does it hit her and absorb, it makes her extremely alluring to your beast. And your beast is right there bubbling beneath the surface. So almost launches out at her, but you're in control. You got a plan. You're a thinker. You're a strategist. A lot of things are happening and in your favor right now. As you do this, you turn and you begin to run. As you do so, you'll have it. So you take 2 superficial damage as you turn, and as you're running, an entire desk, like a heavy wooden reading desk, is soaring through the air, smashes into you, smashes you against the side of the wall once you're out in the hallway, splintering and breaking upon contact a little bit. But you're still, up and moving from that.
Okay.
And you're running towards...
I'm running towards the main room where everybody is.
You're running towards the main room.
Yeah,
with
I'm gonna
this,
start yelling.
objects start moving on their own, like little furniture, sconces, paintings, all of these things start to shake. And as she steps out into the hallway, just kind of looking, for the first time, sort of disheveled and not that usual poise she has, as she just reaches out to stop her, and more objects start flying at you. And this is where we're going to take our break. We'll be back in a little bit to see what's going on with you two. Bye. We are back. Della is having to go throw things at her as she tries to make it to the ballroom. Riafine's hanging out, acting cool, everything's fine. We're gonna get more Thalia stuff. Let's catch up on this. You're fighting.
Yes.
That's essentially what's going down.
Yes. So Thalia's body I was describing has scarification on it. It is with various symbols that, unbeknownst to most, would just look like random scars that she has all over her body, but they are images specific to her true beliefs, her worship of the Dark Mother, Lilith. There is on her a left leg what looks like a large dragon scarred into her leg from like the bottom of her leg all the way up to the thigh. And so she's just covered in these scars. Lessons learned, as she would put it, and she looks at her opponent. And so I think what we're gonna do here in particular is we're gonna use one of the arms to grab at the wrist and not slowly, but just for theatrical effect, would slowly be wrapping around the arm itself to try to snap the bone. We're trying to make this as
give
painful as
me
possible.
your wits oblivion roll.
What is
5
that,
successes.
5 successes.
So, do you want one appendage, or do you want multiple appendages, but those 5 successes will be split among them?
Yeah, I think I'll do that. Yeah, let's fucking shatter the bones in this arm.
No, I mean, so that roll determines you can have multiple arms, or you could just have like one arm of Armand that has like the full 5 dice pool. So that rolls determine your dice pool you're working with.
Okay, I understand. You know what? How many arms do I have?
That's up to you. But the more arms you have, the weaker the arms will be.
Okay, so we're gonna say that I have.
I mean, for flavor, there could be all sorts of arms, but we could just work with this main one here.
Yes. So the active, there's gonna be 3 active arms, but one of them is gonna be attached to this arm and squeezing almost like a snake, just squeezing until the bones crack.
Okay, so that's 5. So let's roll our 5 dice. As you're going for the arm, and she's going to try to not let you do that.
Okay.
Okay, so and your intent is to grab. So she has them both, but you're gonna grab one of them, and you're trying to snap the arm.
Yeah.
Okay. So she lunges at you. You hold your ground, and that tentacle snakes out, catches her midair, stops her, and you hear that satisfying snap as it grabs and then twists all in one fluid motion, engulfing her arm. And you hear just her forearm just completely snap the other way.
Mm-hmm.
But her other, her foot comes up, also growing one of these bony protrusions, as she didn't do anything for defense. So she took full damage from that. She allowed herself to get hit, essentially sacrificing so she can also try to do full damage to you.
Okay.
You, and this is non-halved, so you're taking the full 4 superficial damage. So you catch, you snap. She grits, but her foot comes swinging up and catches you right in the abdomen and just punctures deep into your gut as she pulls the foot out roughly. It does not come out clean as you spill some blood down your leg and onto the floor. But you have her arm as well. Her other arm's coming in. She's just going feral right now. But you can see just this grin on her face. She is enjoying this.
As am I, and through lessons that I have learned, pain is simply a path to enlightenment. And so I take that pain and I inhale it in, allowing it to be my power. And I am going to, let's see. Okay, so what I'm going to do, since I still have her by the arm here, I am going to slam her down onto the floor with the arm, if I may.
Do another roll. What's Oblivion?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, you got another 5. So you by the arm, you race her and slam her into the ground with a heavy thud. And she looks up to you, and you can see some of the muscles and tendons on her arms separate as she detaches her own arm just through force of will. She's a Zamichi after all. As the bones just sort of unravel and the bone comes off clean, just like being slid out of a chicken wing almost. And she just instantly is back on her feet, lunging at you, getting with her other arm a stab just deep into your clavicle for another 3 superficial damage.
Okay, so we are gonna have to explain. I need help with something because I believe that's my full.
That puts you in aggravated. So you're still going, but you're
Yeah.
impaired. You have an aggravated damage now. So all physical dice pools are made at a 2 dice penalty because they're physically impaired. Arms of Araman does not count for that because that's not a physical dice pool. So those rolls won't be impaired. She's also looking quite bad. Like she got up, stabbed. You guys have sort of given each other a couple paces again, but she's also taken the brunt of your attack. She's
beautiful.
In game terms, has taken aggravated damage as well. You're both not looking great. She looks. This has been fun, but you don't deserve a warrior's death. Kneel, wait for your punishment.
Thalia smiles.
She's using dominate on you.
Is she? That's wonderful. I have iron will, so I believe that gives me bonuses to resist my
altering.
Yes,
get +2 on this.
Okay.
So let's hope this comes through for you. As she says that, you can feel your legs move, like start to twitch on their own involuntarily. This is a intelligence resolve is your dice pool.
Okay. I believe that's 4. I think I'm gonna fucking rouse. I'm just gonna do it.
Let's go for it.
And I did not succeed. 5. Yeah, it's full beast right
that's
now.
Fine.
So that's great.
So it's when you go past 5. So 5 is like you're on the brink. One more the next failed rouse check is you're in a frenzy.
Okay, wonderful.
Making frenzy tests. Okay, so yeah, make your roll. 6 now.
Okay. Fucking dice.
Beat 5. That's 4.
Yeah. Hey.
So with this, she says, "Kneel and await your punishment." And you, with a heavy thud, immediately drop to your knees. You're looking at her, but you feel yourself compelled to obey this submerged directive to wait for your punishment. As she just sort of walks up to you, still just one arm snapped off from you, the other arm with this bony protrusion coming out. And it goes back into her arm. You want to see what's under my dress? And she puts her hands into her own sort of torso here and pulls a piece of skin where she was hiding a stake and like this weird flesh pocket that she had. She removes. You're not going to die here. You're not going to die for a long time, but every single night you will wish for it and you will ask me to grant you final death, and every night I will tell you no. Grace is for those who are not twice a traitor, first abandoning the Sabbat, abandoning your pack, after we trained you to be the predator you are. And even worse, then turning your back on Cain, worshipping this false matron, a demon, a heretic. You're looking for purpose in your pain? I promise only pain from here on out. And she takes a stake and plunges it into your heart.
I have unstakeable.
You are. You have that. She does not know that.
No, she does not.
What you do next is up to you. You can react immediately. You can feign torpor. There's all sorts of options.
When she plunges... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. When she goes to plunge the stake into me, I allow her to, smiling. How close is she?
Oh, she's right there.
Mm.
Yeah, it's just like right up face to face with you as she says that. I mean, you had no choice, but you were dominated. You had to sit there and listen for your punishment. But now that she's placed the stake in you, giving your punishment, the command has now faded.
Mm-hmm. Uh, she's very close, and she might not be able to see this. But what anyone else who might be watching would see is the shadows collecting and slowly wrapping up around her body. And in the smallest whisper, Thalia says, Lilith tells us to take our power back. She calls to us to stand in our truth, embracing our darkness and our light equally. She tells us to stop playing small and being afraid of burning too brightly with passion, for worry of being misunderstood in the eyes of others. Our fire is not for them. She tells us it is for us. And Thalia's mouth opens, fangs extended, almost too wide where any second her mouth might split. And she is going to brutally feed.
Oh, so while she's in on you, you're going to whisper that at her as she looks confused of why you're even able to talk. And before the realization hits, you're going to attempt to sink your fangs into her neck. Let's see how this goes, because if this not goes well, she is going to attempt to stick a bone blade into your skull. Let's do a strength brawl. You can also rouse here. You're intending to feed anyway. So.
Oh, that's right. Duh. And if anything, I'll just frenzy. Oh, I succeeded.
So you succeeded. So you don't frenzy.
Hey.
But you're biting. You got 2. She got 3.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh,
did you
dude,
that-
I didn't add
still
the
gotta add the
Yeah.
the
Oh.
3 to that roll. So I actually got what, 5?
So you need. Well, no. It's 3 more dice. It's not necessarily. So just you've already rolled. Just do a
Right.
WP reroll. We'll just add. So that'll be the 3, and we'll see.
Okay.
1 to meet, 2 or more to beat.
Cool. WP reroll. Here we go.
1. So at the same time.
Mm.
Again, this is on hash. You got 3. So you'll each do 1. You'll take 1 more superficial, which will turn into another aggravated for you.
Okay.
You bite into her though, but you do aggravated damage with your fangs. You rip into her throat. She catches your head, and you feel that bone come out again and start pressing and digging into your head. But before it reaches the brain, it stops because she has stopped. Because she has gone stiff and rigid and torpor as you've ripped her throat out and the blood just pours over you. I assume you drink. If not, we'll need to do a hunger frenzy test to resist.
I do drink. I do absolutely
So
drink.
not the first time you've drank in her blood, even tonight.
No.
As
I have
you-
a taste.
Dive in and drink deeply from just this open wound as her blood pours into your mouth. And you have brutal feed. This can happen in mere seconds, to drain a vampire would take a much longer time. Are you intending to diablerize, or do you just want to drink your
I'm
fill?
just going to drink my fill.
Let's see. Please do a frenzy test.
Yes.
0 successes.
Oh, well. She may have
You
been
drain her.
diablerized.
Completely, including that last drop, that last pull, which includes what some people consider the soul of a kindred, which is now in you and part of you. We will resolve what happens with that exactly later. For now, as she crumbles, not quite old enough to turn to ash, but her body which has been changed and morphed as the Michi does, weirdly like unravels and then re-ravels and just like twists until it's this strange human that you don't recognize at all. You've never seen the original form of this individual until now. A rather plain looking individual now staring up, lifeless, bloodless at you. Where are you going to next?
So Thalia would have allowed her body to just be coated in this blood, and there is a sick, sadistic satisfaction that she has taken from this kill. She looks up as if speaking to someone in the shadows and says, Ahi ai Lilith, this was for you. Her true accent coming out. She grabs this person she's never seen before by the collar and begins to drag her along the floors, allowing the blood to just make a trail. Bold as brass, she goes to the ballroom.
So you're heading towards the ballroom then?
Yes. Her
Okay,
intent...
we will leave it at
Oh.
that then. Oh, wait, what's your intent? Sure.
The intent is to take the body and throw it into the middle of the floor.
Okay. Yeah, on the way, you can hear other noises. Similar grunts, screams. For a second, you're sort of listening to hear other battles until you realize that these are much different encounters happening in adjacent private rooms in this area.
Mm-hmm.
As you continue dragging your quarry.
Praise Lilith.
Before you get there, is there any... You're at hunger 0. Is there any mending or anything you want to do on your way?
Oh, yes, absolutely. We'd like to mend as much as possible. Get rid of that ag damage if we can.
So each rouse will... You can't get rid of your ag. You're stuck with your ag until you rest. But you can get rid of your superficial. Okay. Each rouse gets rid of 2.
Okay, so let's do that.
You have 1, 2... You have 4. So you can do 2 rouse checks if you want to go back to full health.
Okay.
Okay.
So 2 have been healed. 1 more time.
You don't get hunger. You're still at 0 hunger. And you have 2 aggravated, but as you're walking, dragging your prey, your wounds just stitching themselves up as you stroll down the hall. Outside, Riafine. These 2 individuals. Identified. She's one of them. One has removed the stake. The other one digs, the servant digs into the robes and pulls a crucifix from beneath and begins focusing on it.
I am going to use subtle messages.
Okay.
So I'm going to talk to the one who looked and like pointed me out first.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, oh, yes, you're absolutely correct. I am one of them, but so is she. And the message that I'm sending subtly is that his or her, whoever it is, their ally is also about to betray them. And like, I'm going to instill the fear that their ally is about to bite them.
So you want to instill paranoia. Okay. Do you want to instill this in the one with the stake or the one with the cross?
The one with the stake. I am hoping to essentially ignite this fear, this paranoia, so that way that person turns around and stakes the other.
Okay, give me manipulation presence. 8 dice, 1 success. You have willpower if you'd like to use it.
Yeah, I'm gonna use that. Let's go.
2 successes total. Your hunger's now at 4. Let's see, I can roll bad. I do not. So, with this, the one starts just holding the cross, chanting. You say that the one sort of sees that, kind of almost glances a little bit towards them, but then shakes his head in determination and rushes forward in an attempt to stake you.
I am going to try to just casually lift up my dress and casually step to the side as he's coming at me with full force.
Yeah, so you've used a power. You still get it. Yeah, a dodge roll here. So give me this will be Dex Athletics for you. 0 successes. I did not get enough to do a straight staking. I have to beat you by 5 to just straight up stake you, which you almost made very easy for me. If I would have rolled one better, I would have got it. But instead, you're going to take halved 2 superficial damage. As he
Okay.
goes, it's clean. This is clearly a hunter knows what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
They go and just, you move just enough to where it wasn't just missed your heart, but still like straight up plants a stake into your chest.
Okay.
Damaging you, but not instantly activating torpor. As he's doing that, and he's instantly turning, pulling another stake, and going towards Vera Volgan, who is just paralyzed, eyes wide, is just stuck. She started, you could see she like started to move or say something, and now just can't move, and is just stuck staring at this person chanting with the cross. You could hear her sister in the cage yell something out in Russian and go and just stop herself from touching the bars again.
Fuck.
But he turns. It's not a stick actually. He's pulling out a blade. But yeah, please continue.
Okay. Fuck.
As he steps past you, you have his back, but he's quickly just taking a couple steps past you towards his next target.
Does he look like he is well off? There's a reason why I'm asking.
It's very hard to tell. I mean, you can always, if it's for feeding reasons, you can always spend a willpower to force yourself from feed from someone who's not well off. You wouldn't imagine a hunt who meet your qualifications. I mean, you can still bite him. You can still like attack and kill him. Just feeding will cost a willpower.
So right now I'm gonna activate awe.
Okay.
I'm gonna activate awe. And I'm going to kind of like
awe. Presence, so awe and entrancement do not work in combat. Once someone's decided they want to kill you, you can't necessarily charm your way out of it. Some of the more powerful presence powers can, but those ones do not work once someone's decided.
Okay. So then I am just going to essentially he's got his back turned.
Yeah, right? He punctured you, spun around, drew another weapon, and he's already stepped past you thinking you're staked, you're good. Time to get the next one.
I'm going to go for the jugular.
With bite?
Yeah, I just want to bite. Well, because I'm already a little hungry. I will spend the willpower if needed, right? To like feast on something that is disgusting.
So this is strength brawl.
Oh, fuck.
Not your strong suit.
God damn it.
I got a crit going for me.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
Thank you. Thank you. Finally, it's my turn.
So I'm spending a willpower.
You have to roll with disadvantage against Lady Riathane. It's just a rule.
I didn't even know there's disadvantage in this game. So not only are we introducing a mechanic, but I have to do it again. Okay.
It's a 0.
It's a 0.
Yeah.
Which means you step in to just try to bite. But again, he's spinning, he's moving quick. This is clearly a very expertly trained combatant. You step in, and as he spins, turning where he sees you, as he spun past you, got the blade out, and he just swiped at Vera Volgan. A big enough swipe to where it spun him around towards you, and he just kicks his foot out. You step in to bite him, you get a boot to the chest that just keeps you at a distance from him.
Okay.
Just as you hear as her head hits the ground next to him, and you see a bloody pile of ash start to form behind him as the wind takes it a little bit, blowing it where Vera Volgan once stood. You hear her sister scream into a roar from the cage next to you, and then you hear a pow, a gunshot go off as the man with the sword, eyes wide, looks down at the rapidly expanding blood spot on his chest. The person praying looks up, eyes flutter, turn out to see a badly injured Callum dropping his flintlock pistol and drawing a short blade at his side, trying to just pull himself, stumble just through force of will to keep his broken body heading towards you.
I, at that point, scream. And I'm assuming now that the attention's off of me, I am actually going to shape change.
Amazing. As our mistress has, as we see a glimpse of, has an animalistic side. This will take a turn.
Yes.
But yeah, describe what this looks like.
So at this point, I am wailing. And very similar to before, the face starts changing first. The corners of my mouth split. Blood, tissue, sinew, all of it just starts exposing itself as my jaw elongates and my fangs instantly pop down as it is joined by rows of very vicious teeth. My size and my stature starts growing. My spine starts crackling as it almost contorts and elongates. Each individual disc popping as my arms just peel back. The skin of my arms peels back and is replaced with this fur. My hands turn into claws, knuckles popping, and I am still howling in pain as my body changes. My knees almost buckle underneath the pain and my hips split. And with that, I instantly run towards this person with the cross who was praying, and I am going to swipe directly across their face.
As you have now taken the form of a wolf with your shape change. It takes a turn, but in that turn, they turn, look at Calm approaching. They pull out a very familiar, those thin silver daggers that the kindred used to feed from the servants, and prepare. They look at Callum and realize Callum's badly hurt, and they assess the situation, realize they can probably finish them off. And as they approach Callum, so I've gone fuzzy. That's when this wolf runs past, and they look back just in time to see you swipe across their back, taking them to the ground. This individual's power does not lie in their physical ability, but no roll necessary. You are able to maul this individual if that is your intention.
It absolutely is. I am going for the jugular. So as this person falls, I feed.
They tried to get out like a last prayer, something to make them feel better and to embrace their faith, but the words are literally swallowed by you as you rip the very words and blood from their throat. It's a gurgle on those last moments, quickly expiring. So warm blood sort of filling your mouth. How hungry are you? You're at hunger 4.
Yeah.
If you would like to change back and feed, you're absolutely able to do so.
I am going to do that. And at this point, I look a little disheveled as I like the bones start popping back. Like it's never a pretty picture. So my hair is wet with blood, both my own and this individual's. And my dress is slightly tattered. I look like I just shifted. But before I continue to feed, I'm actually because I'm still a little bloodied, because I still have a couple of open wounds, I'm going to offer Callum my hand so that way he can drink.
Looking up, Callum hasn't quite made it to you. He fell just a couple meters before he sort of got to you and this individual, and right now he's face down on the ground.
Okay.
You go up to him, turn him over, his eyes very weakly sort of flutter open, and he uses his strength to sort of put his hand up and reach for your hand and then stop himself. With your permission.
Of course, darling, anything.
And then he touches your face, knowing to lay a hand on his mistress without being explicitly instructed to. His emotions almost getting the best of him there. I'm glad you're okay. I was scared.
And are you?
That I would have passed and this wouldn't have been the last thing I've seen. This,
You're not
he
going
just sort
anywhere.
of caresses your face. Look of confusion. So, a quick assessment of his wounds. He's rapidly bleeding out. Giving him some blood might delay it a little bit. Those with the ghouls, those with vampire blood in their system are a little hardier, but it's still not enough to like just straight up heal someone by any means. The only way to potentially do that if you were to embrace him entirely, or you can let him slip away.
Nope. I'm bringing him over. He is mine.
Okay. So with that, instead of letting the blood slowly drain from him, you drink from him, taking the last of his blood. Someone must be drained completely before you introduce your blood into their system.
I do that.
Now, when you remember this process, the first thing that happens is when you come to, this person is going to be in a hunger frenzy. All they're going to feel is the excruciating pain in their stomach of needing to feed, needing blood. The only person around is you, as the other blood is now the blood of dead people. Not going to be good for a vampire unless they have certain abilities.
Yeah. Okay.
So yes, you do this. You go through the process of embracing them. Though it'll be a little bit. He's not just gonna wake up as soon as you do this, but and it's also it's a complicated thing, and it's far from a science. But you do what you think you need to do. You feed him your blood. So we'll say between you feeding and then having to give him your blood again, your hunger is going to be just at 1, just from what you've had to expel to put in him.
Okay.
And it's done. All that's left to do now is wait. Behind you, you didn't even notice with everything going on. The cage has been ripped open. A hurt, but alive, Volgan's sister is kneeling, holding the remnants of the skull that was once Vera. Without even looking back at you, she says, or you don't know what she says. She speaks Russian. She just says something to you and looks towards the building and just nods. You see a look of anger on her face, but you also understand that she needs a moment. And she just kind of holds up her hand and returns to what's left of her sister. She'll join you, but not now.
I give her a very knowing nod, knowing that there's a good chance that like I'm not coming out of this based off of my decision. And as she is kind of holding like onto her loved one, I'm holding onto mine.
Okay. You don't know how long it'll take. This could take, a lot of times it could take all night. It could be the next night that he rises.
I'm mourning right now.
You're going to wait out here?
I'm going to wait out here for a minute. Yeah.
Okay. Della. You are running down this hallway trying to get to the ballroom. Anything not nailed down, some sort of poltergeist is flinging at you, causing quite a commotion as some of these doors are opening up as well. As there's other people that have went to get privacy are stepping out. And you see completely in the nude, 2 men, door flings open, and just, what is the meaning of...
I'm going to point back.
So,
Lord Featherington and her. Because they
Lord Featherington's still back in the library.
She didn't drop him in the hallway. I thought we got shot in the hallway. So,
Oh no. So he ran. So the ghoul was in the library. She was in the library. He shot you from within the library. So he went into the library to take the stake.
I thought they shot me down the hallway.
No, sorry. So then you ran out. Some things have been thrown at you. She and him are pursuing, and they step out. And as you point, you already see like something happening, and their fangs coming out, and they just look down as they're getting a whiff of this addictive vitae in this woman. Some other doors open. Some other kindred in various states of undress step out to see what the commotion is, before one of those men just pushes the other and sprints towards Margaret Giovanni, whose eyes widen, and she's chanting, and you can see things are starting to be flung at this person. Something invisible picks up this kindred and just puts him straight through the ceiling. But then another one comes, and she's directing more invisible forces to try to protect her. She's looking all around as kindred are coming out of these rooms and launching themselves at her in this hunger frenzy, attempting to feed from her because of your ritual. And within a few moments, you could still put some distance between you. It seems like she is getting just piled on by hungry, horny kindred who are
just a pile of naked, hungry, horny kindred.
Mhm.
I am just running. I am now on the way to get Riafine and Talia. That's my only thing now.
Sure.
I have to get.
And you have your artifact.
Yelling for Victor.
You have a ball, so you can look and you can see exactly where they're at using your auspex amplified by this thing.
I do. They have bloodstones, so I know exactly.
That too. So not only can you feel where they are, you can see, and you see Thalia walking down a hallway, dragging a bloody kindred corpse. You see Riafine kneeled next to a very still and bloodied Callum. And you can sort of feel where they are. One outside, one on the same level as you, but the other side of the building.
Mm-hmm. Who's the closest?
Thalia.
Thalia? Have I made it to the ballroom yet?
No, if that's where we want to go, we can do that then. So yeah, you make your way.
I feel like the ballroom was in the center, right? So I would have to go
Yes.
through there anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep running towards the ballroom because I also want to send Victor towards one of them.
Sure.
Yeah. Running to the ballroom, and as soon as I get there, I'm going to tell Victor, I'm going to point towards the direction of Thalia and say, find Thalia now, and I'm going to Riafine.
So when you enter the ballroom, dancing is no longer happening. Instead, it looks like a procession. People are lined up. Kindred on one side, mortals on the other. You see Victor, sees you enter, and sort of gives you a look. Phaedra looks as you enter. Ah, good. Just in time for the sorting of the mortals. Where are your friends?
The second I get there, I'm going to point down the hallway. She started attacking. She took Lord Featherington. She's fighting others in the hallway now.
She looks towards some of her people and nods, and you see a handful of people disappear from the room. I hope she not get in the way of your celebration.
I must find my friends immediately.
Fine. You've earned yourself some favor among us quickly, or else I cannot promise the safety of your mortals.
She's gonna bow, like going back into full like submissive mode, and if she allows, tell Victor which way to go. If she doesn't allow, I'm going to Thalia first.
Yes, Victor will need to stay here.
Understood. And I'm just gonna go.
Yeah, you go and you catch Thalia right before she's heading down the steps, dragging this body behind her, making her way to the ballroom, and you catch her on the stairs.
Thalia, go ahead.
Yes.
Hold off on that for a second. And I tell you everything that just happened.
Ah.
I saw Riafine goes down. We have to get to her now.
Where is she?
And I'm gonna grab you and just start running. If
I'm
you
gonna
allow.
fucking toss his body to the side and just keep it pushing.
No
Rhea,
problems.
my homegirl is in trouble. So yeah, Thalia takes off for sure.
So you guys start heading. Before you get to the front door, you recognize. What am I looking for? Eleanor Crystalby, the opera singer, the one that Lord Effington brought. Towards each of you. Have you seen Lord Effington anywhere? He simply ran off on me, and I understand I'm supposed to be gathering in the room with the rest, and
He's in the library.
I see. Is he okay?
Potentially. I will answer all your questions in just a few moments, and I'm gonna try to push past her.
I believe it's dangerous to go anywhere alone, but yeah, again, you're sort of pushing
I have
past
my
her.
friend with me. It's fine, thank you.
Sure.
Please, find Victor. You can't miss him. Korean man in a suit.
I think Thalia at this point, because the urgency that everything is, she is going to, I guess it's sort of flavor that a dangerous reputation and presence that she has is just gonna exude from her, and she's attempting to I guess intimidate this girl into just being like too scared to interact any further.
Della, give me a Dex Athletics, please.
Why? Why
Just for funsies. Just for funsies.
0. I can't push past an opera singer.
Please take 3 aggravated damage. As Thalia, you start to exude this
That's all of it.
predatory nature. That's aggravated. So
Oh, okay.
you're still up, but you're impaired. If you take 2 more damage of any kind of damage, you'll be in torpor. So as you go to push by, like, no, it's okay. And you do push by her. You literally like touch her and push by her, and then you are spun around, and a cross is pressed into your face and forehead, burning even through the veil, just marking you. As she says, "I said it was dangerous." As she looks back, as you're exuding this presence, and she goes, "I'm not afraid of you, beast." As she calls out, "In here!" As it seems, Lord Effington's mortal that he's brought is a problem. What would the two of you like to do?
I would like to, before she can actually say in here, I'd like to use Shadow Puppet and use her shadow to essentially bind her mouth shut.
Okay, that is a rouse check.
Okay.
And then resolve plus oblivion. Della, what do you want to do?
I want to bite her. I'm hungry. I have 4 hunger, and she just real fucked me up.
All right,
And
it's
her
another
arm is in my face, right?
physical roll to bite. Yeah. But she's held still from. Well, let's see what happens here.
Yeah, especially if she's held still. I'm going straight.
Yeah,
up.
if she's being shadow puppet, they'll be free. If not, you'll have to roll against her.
I eat her hand.
I don't think do I get any modifiers because she's human? Like anything? Okay, just double checking. Okay, 3, I believe.
So you raise your hand. Her own shadow starts to sort of become under control, sort of spreading out as her fingers spread out, as you use her shadow to control her, and she just looks at you, and her arm's stuck out. Della just looking at this arm, grabbing it, and biting it. Reduce your hunger by 1, Della. And she will be taking 2 aggravated damage from that vampire bite.
Wonderful.
As she looks at you, Thalia. Yeah, her mouth being just snapped shut. Though she still says, "Your dog powers have no effect on me, demons. Drink up." As she looks at you, Della, and says, "Drink up," right as you are drinking and looking at her. And then her blood, something about this, it's almost like sacramental holy blood, starts burning a hole in your throat, causing another aggravated damage to you.
Wonderful. Can I snap her neck using the shadow puppet?
The shadow puppet, it did not affect her.
I see. I understand what's happening.
She
Okay.
used a willpower and her true faith to ignore the effect.
Wonderful, wonderful, delightful. So instead, you see, as if pulled from the oblivion of the sort of like the shadows that are that is Thalia, she pulls out these 2 curved blades and is going to swipe and slit this bitch's throat.
Yeah, true faith doesn't help against getting stabbed. So let's see what happens here. This is a melee, strength melee.
Okay.
You may blood surge if you'd like.
We most certainly will.
Della, is there anything you want to do? So it's getting burnt. You see Thalia just pull out a fucking knife and go in. And you see this woman reach into her own. Again, she's dressed like an opera singer, like has this big dress and stuff, but she's obviously anything. Reaches into her dress, pulling out a blade of her own that was expertly just sort of sewn in as part of the sort of these metal rivets on her corset. Is there anything you want to do to assist Thalia here?
She's trying to pull it out right now.
Yes.
So I'm.
So
like,
both
kind of,
attacking at the same time. So yeah, what do you want to do?
So I have a hold of her arm with my other hand. Can I try to put it over her hand that's pulling out the weapon and use corrosive vitae to? I know it's not going to hurt her, but I want it to melt the dress of the weapon, or like to handle the.
Oh yeah,
so,
yeah.
like,
you can use it
like,
on
you
her
guys
weapon.
Pull it out, like right here.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Rouse
gonna
of blood.
grab it. Yeah. Oh god.
You rouse
Okay.
the blood. Thalia, you rouse. You add 3 with your blood potency to your melee strength.
Did not get
Melee
hungrier, which is good.
I'm actually going to. Am I going to do this now?
3 successes. You can keep that. You can willpower. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna willpower for sure.
Okay.
Okay, so
5 successes total. So your throat burning, Della. You look over and you see her reach, and she grabs the hand. Like what you now see is a handle that was sort of looked like some sort of decoration. Pulls it out. You, biting your hand, reach out and also grab the handle. But she just does it in one fluid motion, pulls it out and brings the blade up to block Thalia's. Except there's no blade there because you ate away that little part that holds the blade. Because this isn't like super quality. This is just a small weapon to be hidden. And you eroded the part to where with the speed of her thing, she like pulled the handle from the blade, blocking with nothing, though she was fucking quick and she would have had it, allowing Thalia to just go straight through to the throat. The blade finding the meat, just a clean slice through that you don't even see until just a second later. She holds with both her hands, dropping the handle, holding her throat, tries to yell out for help again, and she just gurgles. She's looking at each of you, and then she closes her eyes, and you can sort of feel this weird presence, but you each can act again. She's
Wonderful.
gonna try to do a Hail Mary here.
Well, that's so fucking great for her. So what we're gonna fucking do is we're going to now let's see, hold on now. Potence is I think a thing. Unarmed damage. No. Yes, maybe.
Yeah, potent
I
adds
would-
to any physical damage.
Wonderful. Because I want to take that same blade and I want to fucking cut her head off.
Give me another roll.
Wonderful. We're going.
Are you using potence? Yeah, Rouse of Blood. Della, what would you like to do?
Can I help?
I
Thalia?
get hungry.
Can I just grab her head and like lift it up to like bring the neck tight? Because you said she went to put her head down.
Yeah, you want to just
I
do a
see
help
Thalia.
thing? Add
Yes.
2 dice to this then, Dahlia.
Okay, I
As
failed.
see Thalia pull back. I know.
Yeah. I do gain a hunger.
Okay.
And it is strength melee, yes?
Actually, do dex. So she's gonna die. It depends how quick and clean you can do this before she gets her thing off, which will not
Okay,
be
wonderful.
good, especially for one of our kindreds who's got 1 health left.
Wonderful. So it's dex melee, and I
Yes.
I add 4, yes?
So you rouse the blood.
I did. I roused the blood. I did
That gives
get
you
hunger.
3, and then add 2 more for Della.
2 more, so 5. Okay, cool. The potence. Oh, that adds 2 damage. Never mind.
Yeah.
Oof, not great, but hey. So I think what I'm gonna do because of this, and it's my one thing, and right now I cannot be dealing with fucking True Faith. I'm going to use a free willpower reroll because I have Stalwart Loyalty.
Yes, you're working in to protect one of your own here. Yeah.
Yeah, so I believe hold on, I have to adjust my willpower here. So I only have 1 willpower left, but this one's for free. And then we're just gonna fucking roll all 3. It's a 4 in total, I believe.
4 is enough. As she closes her eyes, both of you feel almost your blood get hot inside of you, and then nothing. As Della, you're now holding the head. As you're holding it back, and then it separates a second later as she drops to the ground without alerting the rest of her hunters.
I think that Thalia, a very practiced move. It almost seems dancer-like that she spins 360 to just put her full momentum into cutting this bitch's head off.
Amazing.
Yes.
With that, you can hear now some of the sounds that you thought was just like carnal pleasure. Definitely some fights have broken out in these spaces where kindred have isolated themselves. But that might not be a problem right now, as I assume you guys want to continue out to Riafine.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna drop the head. I'm actually gonna just toss the head behind me. We're running past doors with other kindred behind them, correct?
You're at the front door.
Oh,
she was the one seeing who was coming in and out of this thing. So you're outside now.
Okay.
But yeah, you go around the side. You know exactly where she is thanks to your bloodstone, and yeah, you see Riafine. I still assume still just on the ground with Callum. You don't see anyone else. Riafine, you kind of noticed the other Vulcan perk up, probably hearing these two way before they actually get there, and then sort of disappearing.
I kind of just I'm kind of cradling Callum in my lap, right? And y'all have only seen me like this a handful of times. And you can tell that I actually shifted. And I'm crying over Callum right now because you have only ever seen me turn someone once. And it's not a decision that I take lightly. And there is obvious guilt on my face. And I do know that you have approached, but I'm very upset. There is still blood dripping from my eyes and falling down onto Callum's face, which I very quickly wipe off to keep him very pristine. And I sob quietly.
I think we're running in full force, just yelling, and the second we get there, I just stop running and slowly approach you. I'm assuming we have cloaks or something, and take mine off and drape it around your shoulders gently. So everything is deliberate, so you know I'm doing it. I am not making sudden moves. And I'm gonna kind of wave Talia over and kind of kneel by next to you.
I am going to come over, and you two are the only ones who know Thalia well enough to know her actual accent, that she's not really from here. She takes, I think, a moment to just survey, and realize a fight broke out, lots of things happened here. Callum was collateral damage, and you were forced to make a choice that I think Thalia would know you didn't necessarily want to make, but had to.
Mm.
In that moment, she kneels down and she will put both her hands on your face so that you look at her. She coaxes you to look at her and says, "You have been fighting since you were a child. You have faced many a battle. You are not a survivor. You are a fucking warrior. Now is time to fight."
Rhea kind of wipes the tear from her eye and then like gently places a hand over Thalia's and then another on Della's, who I'm assuming is still kind of like right there, and allows Cal to just kind of lay in her lap. We end this. For those we have loved and lost, we end this.
Understood. I think
Thalia, Thalia nods. She lifts Callum as if he were a child, precious because she knows he's precious to Riafine. And she gathers him and she's going to set him so that he's sitting upright. We're in like a garden, yes?
Mm-hmm.
She sits him upright next to a statue, one that she thinks looks like a warrior. She puts a hand on his chest and says, "We will return for you." And with that, she will stand up to her full height. And as flavor, I think just the shadows and the dark power that she commands all gather from the night around her. And you see her fully ready to battle, knives in hand. She waits for your command.
Della is going to turn to Riafine. Your coin, please.
Rhea takes it out and very delicately places it in the palm of her hand and like deliberately folds Della's hands over the coin and holds it there for a second.
While you're holding her hand, you are not allowed to leave our sight now.
Nor you allowed to leave mine, both of you.
And Della's going to walk over and like Thalia, because we know how important he is, gently place the coin inside of like a pocket, but like way in that pocket. Like I want to make sure that if someone picks him up, that it won't fall out. Like I'm putting it in like a special place.
Okay. Yeah, keep a bloodstone on him. Perfect.
And before we leave,
no one's taking
Riafine will like, does the thing that she does where she just kind of gently caresses his face and then places like a final kiss on his lips. And then we'll stand up.
There's the slightest twitch in his lips back. Maybe an early sign that it worked.
Rhea kind of sighs contentedly, but also knowing the full gravity of what she's done. And then she'll stand and turn to look at Thalia and Della. Vera was someone we could trust, and they got her. And for that, I will have blood for her. They have caged her sister like an animal. But we have come to an understanding because she is a werewolf. I believe you two are safe as long as you stay close.
So will nod.
From here on out, I very much mean we do not leave each other's circles.
Understood and agreed.
I do believe, if I am not mistaken, that this has happened before, based off of what we found out when receiving the invitation. And that means it will end here.
Let us get to work.
Please. It has been quite some time since I let out the beast, and I am quite ready to do it again.
Okay. On your way in, Della and Riafine, if you'd like, you can arouse the blood and mend some of your superficial wounds.
Okay, so I do get hungrier. Do I
Get
do it
hungrier?
twice?
No, you heal too.
I healed too.
I also get hungrier, and I only have one superficial, so that's
Yep, so you heal that one.
heal.
So I have 2 superficial, and I heal both of those.
Yep, so you're back to full health.
Perfect.
As a final thing before we head out, Thalia, again in that way that she sort of manifests from the shadows, is going to take it's a dagger, simple but should suffice, and she is going to place it on the inside of Callum's jacket, so that should someone attempt to attack him and just the ferocity of the first wake isn't enough, he has a weapon on him. He won't be, just bare.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you head inside, straight to the ballroom, I presume.
Yes.
Yes, and telling
Inside-
Riafine everything along the way. Just
Mhm.
everything
Cheer
that's
up.
happened. You
It's quiet once you get inside. There's definitely a blood stain where you had your little encounter at the front door, but no body.
interesting.
Stepping into the ballroom, you can see where it's still separated kindred mortals, and then a pile of bodies in the center. As Phaedra looks up, there they are. I was hoping you were okay as well. Though we are disappointed in some of our guests, she looks towards Lord Effington. Seems to have been recovered, has the stake removed. And he sort of puts his head. I'd heard such good things about you and that voice. How could you have a voice like that and be a hunter? Nothing makes sense anymore in this world. I'm sorry. And Phaedra goes, yes, your apologies may not be enough for our fallen kindred this evening. Though, I understand we have some of you to thank for removing the worst of it. She refers to the woman, the opera singer who was killed.
On the way, Thalia would have picked up her dead Sabbat,
Okay.
and is dragging this body into the room. And in obeying her dear friend, she doesn't go far and simply tosses the body in front of Phaedra.
Another fallen. How unfortunate.
No,
Truly.
not unfortunate. That is a Sabbat member. Managed to work their way in here. Apparently came to assassinate me. I was under the impression that this island was protected, that only those who knew of its existence would have been able to find it and others not.
Those who were invited were allowed entry. Some of us, she looks again towards Lord Effington, perhaps we should have vetted the guests better. Others, she looks at the individual brought in, I don't believe we gave her an invitation. So I am surprised how she got in. And she looks completely different from the woman
Yes,
that was
well,
actually invited.
There was more than one hunter.
Yes,
It
I
wasn't
understand
just,
they infiltrated some of our mortals here. Lord Effington says, I'm glad you're okay though. This is most embarrassing.
Riafine kind of like brushes some of like the blood from her hair and like tries to like straighten herself out to the best of her ability and stands tall regardless. Still stunning. Okay.
Okay,
Still
okay.
stunning. Phaedra, darling,
Yes.
what happened at this last soiree that you threw? Something similar?
No, this is the first time we've been infiltrated by the ilk. The last one
Ilk,
was
you say?
quite a celebration, and the triumvirate was selected, though the Camarilla quickly ended what we had put in place. That's why we want to make sure we have the best, she looks towards all of you, of the best when selecting this triumvirate.
Well, you're looking at them.
I do believe so. And Adrian says, I was told there would be a final test. Phaedra looks at him. This is also true.
I smirk and I look up at Adrian and I say, now, darling, normally I would love to play your games, but I'm not in the fucking mood. So, this test, what good is it for you? I have beaten you time and time again.
Is that what you think? This
It
test
is what I know.
has to do with our relationship with them. And he gestures to the side of the ballroom with mortals. And if there's anything I know, it's that I am a better people person than you. And he looks towards the mortals again.
Riafine audibly cackles, like eerily. Adrian, oh, you think dominating or using whatever power you have is a way to win? That's because you lack charisma. That's because you lack the vernacular. That is because you are worse than the horseshit beneath my heel. You are nothing, and you've been nothing. You cannot do anything without manipulating. I, on the other hand, am charismatic. People gravitate towards me. It is evident that you are jealous, and you can continue to be. And make no mistake, Adrian, I will end you. You have met your match.
What use do I have for being chummy with other people when I have something better? You think my power a weakness? I think you are jealous that you cannot do what I do. You might be able to make friends, but I can make them kneel. And when he says this, he looks at the mortals, his voice booming, and every single one of them, in a mass manipulation, hits the ground in a kneeling gesture. You see Victor. You see the name I keep forgetting, DuPont. You see
Elizabeth.
a wave of them all drop to their knee, and for a moment, this sniveling little individual gives a reminder that he is a kindred, quite a powerful one at that. But once they kneel, they kind of come to looking at each other, and they kind of most get back to their feet, some more slowly than others. Phaedra says, enough! We have a test to do. Now, it's important that we do what is best for everyone, not just ourselves. We're not here to prove that any one of you is strong, that you as a triumvirate, you as leaders of these people are worthy. That you are blessed. And that those who choose to follow you and you choose to be your followers are also worthy and blessed. Most importantly, that they are beautiful, inside and out. Now, what I'm going to say may sound alarming, but if you've chosen wisely, it should not be an issue. Where is your mortal, Riafine? And Adrian says, yes, where is your mortal? Should be some sort of disqualification if she does not have one.
Adrian, if you do not be quiet, I swear to God, I will rip your throat out myself. As I was being attacked in the gardens, my mortal laid his life down for me and is currently awaiting his reawakening.
That's not allowed. And then there's a lot of murmuring and whispering among that, as that is considered to embrace, let alone embrace without permission on your own. He's no better than a Sabbat, he says as he looks at Thalia. Phaedra
That
raises
also
her
did
hands.
more for us tonight than you've done in your entire life.
And I kind of, before even Phaedra starts, I say, I did what I had to do because of love and compassion for the people who follow me. I don't need to dominate anyone. Callum willingly gave his life to save my own. I didn't have to dominate him to do it, Adrian.
He was in love with you. He was addicted to your blood.
You
Not
can
your
think what you will,
charm.
but I don't have to pay people to steal them.
It's quiet. Phaedra says, while this is unorthodox, I'm sure, we must welcome new ideas, challenges. We must test our dream against outside beliefs and actions to forge it into the perfect vision. If we always do things the way they were before, how do we know it will get any better? And how do we know our way of doing things is the correct way? In fact, that is what we will be doing now. She gestures, and the Nosferatu made beautiful steps forward. Each of your mortals will be embraced by a Nosferatu this evening. And as you've seen, there are ways around the Nosferatu curse. As everyone knows, the bane is a reflection of the souls. So if your mortals are worthy, they should be able to be made beautiful again. But if they are not, nothing ugly shall remain in the presence of the angel. You will be asked to destroy them.
I raise a hand very quickly. Phaedra, please understand. This cannot happen for Adrian's mortal.
This will happen for all of the mortals. In fact, you are lucky that you were able to embrace your mortal of your own clan. And it seems this final act was enough of a judgment to where I would say he passed. The rest of you will have to do things our way. Please, Riafine. This must be done now. And she looks up again, and you all sort of look up as the angel makes himself known once more in sort of this overlook. Leaning over their porcelain mask, just sort of expressionless, reflecting down on all of you.
I nod and I say, please, Phaedra. His mortal was stolen from me and dominated into being here. She was precious to me.
She does not truly belong to him.
If she is able to be relieved of the curse, then there will be more of a reflection of you than him then. Will that satisfy?
I think Thalia will put a hand on Riafine's shoulder as both support and also like this is not the battle. Let's choose wisely.
Mm-hmm. I kind of just put my hand like where my heart would beat warmly if I were alive, and I nod. But I shoot absolute daggers at Adrian.
Just gives a slight smile, kind of looks over and nudges Benjamin, who takes a second before sort of reacting in a friendly way, as his paranoia is still at work in him.
And I smile at Benjamin.
Benjamin tries to ignore you.
Of course.
This whole time, Della has been looking more and more nervous and like looking back and forth at Victor.
Yeah, Victor looks scared. Usually he's very sure. He's a showman. He's a salesman. You've had this talk before, maybe. He has no interest in being what you are. I mean, your whole dichotomy. He loves being a human, and he's the one out in the day, wheeling and dealing, doing that stuff. You're the creature of the night, but it works, you know. He would not want this. Thalia, you as well. I mean, your apprenticeship, your mentoring of Elizabeth, in the sisterhood, and a lot of these things is something sacred. It's something very important. To be embraced in a mass trial like this among all the others would really be a blow to her. But
Yeah.
she also has the discipline to be willing to do whatever she's asked. But this is not what she would want.
Yeah, I think there is an inner sadness for Thalia because this was not the way. However, she recalls a bit of her learning in being Bahari, and that it was the Nosferatu, the Toreador, that were favored by the Dark Mother after the slaughter of her children, because it was only them who showed kindness. And so she holds her head up high, looking at Elizabeth. And when it gets to her turn to be embraced, there's something that she would say.
Sure.
She looks at whoever's.
We'll see if we get to that. That won't happen just quite yet.
Okay, then. Yeah.
So.
Della is muttering under her breath, there should be a choice. There should be a choice. This should not be allowed. If they do not want to turn, they should not be forced to turn. There should be a choice. This is not okay. This is not what we wanted. This is not how we said we would handle anything. This should be a choice.
The first mortal is called up as this is happening. Not any of yours. Not someone you really recognize. As one of the kindred steps forward, when the mortal steps forward, and you didn't even see them come down, but the angel is now here among you. But yeah, you can continue your conversation as this is happening.
Thalia grabs Della's hand and she holds tight. And she knows that, Riafine's close, and she's got the other hand on her shoulder, and she says, there are two choices. We can fight, sacrifice ourselves to allow them to escape. Or perhaps we can be a little more convincing. But
this is happening. The first mortal is bitten into by the Nosferatu, drained, and then their blood fed back. For some reason, something's happening here. It's chanting again. It's not music. It's actual chanting, sort of echoing through. You see it's not the band up there anymore. It's other robed individuals. You imagine the cult proper has gathered.
Do I know what they're saying?
Yeah, it's another sort of religious, same language as the angels or Phaedra was using before.
Do I, now that I'm actually seeing this ritual happen, do I know anything about this ritual specifically, or anything that could help us in the situation?
No, this is kind of unheard of. This is kind of wild to be able to change a bane like this. Is something that just unheard of. But this individual is bitten, drained, fed blood, and then you can tell something about this whole thing is sort of accelerating this process as they are instantly turned. As they turn on the ground, you see their form sort of become swollen in odd places, discolored, weird spotting starts happening. They sort of look like a weird, like rapid overgrowth happened to them, as well as just very strange colorations. As this person just sort of looks up and looks at their new form. They would be in a frenzy, but something about being in this angel's presence, they look and they're just still. They're calm. They're fixated on this individual, though the hunger should be destroying them from the inside, making them launch out at the nearest source of blood, but they don't. And for the first time in your presence, the angel removes their porcelain mask. And you see almost the exact same face, just a perfectly statuesque perfection. Like skin almost made of marble instead of porcelain, though. Radiant, glowing almost. Except instead of completely still, you see just a hint of actual emotion, actual expression. But something unnaturally beautiful. It's too perfect. It's flawless. Human faces are not like this.
I think while this is happening, and after listening to Thalia's words, I'm gonna activate awe. And in doing so, I'm going to start speaking. If this is the final test, then I shall not partake. We are meant to try to challenge and change what is normal. And if this is normal, then I will challenge and change. For there is beauty to be seen in those who carry it within themselves.
Thalia will speak up at this, stepping forward so that she is right next to Riafine and say, there's beauty in choice. We are no better than any other monster if we take away that choice.
Della will step up next to the two of them. Still looking at Victor. We cannot force anyone into anything that they do not believe in.
And then I'll chime in again. We cannot force a change upon someone that we are meant to govern when it comes to their livelihood. We cannot thrust them into this world of ours without their explicit permission. Trust me, I understand the impact of that choice. I understand the destruction and the chaos it can cause. And in this society, there is no room for that kind of hatred for kindred. I do not condone this.
Will you give me a charisma leadership, please? I'll say add 1 for each Thalia and Della assisting in this as well. So add 2.
And do I get the 2 for being stunning?
Yes, you 2 for
So I get 4, baby.
The extra for being pretty.
That's 4.
Are you fine with 4?
You know what? No, I'll use a willpower too. Might as well.
Okay.
Let's just go.
Okay.
Using the willpower. Do I just add the willpower reroll?
Yes.
And then how many do I add? 3?
3.
Just 3? Let's go. So that's a whole 5.
6.
Hey.
total.
6.
That's a 6. That's a 6.
Hey.
Yes. Henny.
the first time the angel speaks. You hear him in your head as much as out loud, though the lips barely move. I believe their words and their sentiment towards their mortals accomplishes more than our test would. Please, you may have your mortals. You may remove yourself from the remainder of our test. This is not a punishment, but this speaks highly to your capacity to lead. And Adrian
Riafine
goes,
just bows.
that's not fair. He almost makes a thing out of it, but he doesn't. What do the three of you do?
Thalia.
Victor
is
does not
going-
wait. He is already up
Yeah.
and walking towards Della. Okay. You all heard that, right? I've got to do this.
So
Immediately put him behind me, like with
Mhm.
an arm around his, so I know where he is, and shoot a very ugly look at Adrian because I know he was about to say some shit.
for sure he was going to say some shit. So Thalia is going to give just an inclination of her head to our angel here, and then extend a hand out where Elizabeth comes up. But on her way, she pauses in front of Adrian, and she's looking at him with utter disgust. I think those in the know would be like, maybe Elizabeth has been spending some time with Riafine too, because that's definitely a glare she learned from her, you know? And Elizabeth says, do not fashion me a maiden that needs saving from a dragon. I am a dragon, and I will swallow you whole. It is a threat. It is a promise. And she turns on a heel, hands extend. She grabs Thalia's hand.
Before she turns, she catches the back of Adrian's hand. See, do not speak to me, mortal. As he just catches her. And she turns almost just instinctively getting ready to fight back, but also
And I say
understanding her
very
place in this
quickly-
situation.
Empathy.
Okay, you first, and then I got you.
As
He
if
says,
in-
be happy I don't force you to chew and swallow your own tongue.
as if Thalia has melted into one shadow and come out the next. She is in front of Adrian. All of that, dangerous reputation she has filling the room. She glares at him. Dog. Looks at the angel, at the group that is assembled, and says, this is who you want as your leader. This
Actually,
one.
no. I've had enough of this disturbance. The three of you will take your mortals. If you'll wait nearby, you'll be brought back in when we make our final decision. Adrian, I've seen enough from you to understand that you will not be in the triumvirate. Your mortal will not need to undergo this test either.
With that,
And his mortal, aka Riafine's mortal, rises and goes to you, Riafine. So all sort of draws her in.
And I just kind of like, as she comes over to me, like I just kind of embrace her, like I hold her dearly, and I like kind of like smooth out her hair, and I'm like checking her over, and I look at the Della and Thalia, and as well as our mortals, and I say, come.
With that, Thalia will grab Elizabeth's hand and say, we learn through pain. You are wiser still. And with that, turns to join the group.
She nods. Just as Adrian has looked towards some of his people. If I'm not in the triumvirate, none of you will be either. Let's leave this. And gathers some of his people. And he heads out even before you three do.
think we'd rather people. I would
Mhm.
bow to the angel.
Yeah, I
we-
do. Like respectfully, I bow to the angel, I bow to Phaedra, and then I like very quickly try to usher us out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you head out. There's a glow behind you as you exit, as the angels looking down on the one that was just embraced, basking their glow onto them. They're not sure of the results as you step out of the ballroom. The servants closing the door behind you.
Storyteller, during any of this time, have I felt the bloodstone move?
No.
Cool. Just checking.
But now that you have Victor there, he's like, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Can you take this back? And he just sort of like adjusts, and like from under his clothes, your blood homunculus like falls out and goes onto you. It's like, okay, yeah, thanks.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Things got real weird in there. Kind of good weird, but weird. Almost bad weird. Thank you. All of you. She kind of looks towards the group.
If for any reason we leave, stay with Eleanor. Elizabeth. Bully's making me say the wrong name.
It's okay.
God damn it, Bully.
I think Elizabeth finds Victor very sweet. And so she just is, yeah, I think she just finds him very, very sweet. And
Play together.
I don't know that they're romantic.
No, not
I don't know.
Stopped it. If they want, what they do,
Yeah,
what they do in their free times.
I don't know. I don't know. But I do think that they are very close. The same that they would be with Callum. And I think like Athalia would have said to Elizabeth on the way out, just updating them on what it means that Callum is not with them, has been embraced.
Yeah.
But
just so that they know, because they're close to each other, so.
As we are leaving, Della would be like, we should head to the garden immediately. I don't trust that Adrian is walking around.
Right. Actually, as she says that, Thalia will be scanning for where he is.
They're not there. One of them is Benjamin is approaching. The one that's always watching.
And I'm kind of holding this girl. I'm gonna give her a name, Letitia.
Beautiful.
I'm kind of like just holding on to her, and like I'm assuming she's like clinging to me for the minute.
There's not a lot of words. Her brain is kind of recalibrating and sifting through what's real and what's not. But she understands you, and she understands the comfort in your presence. So she just sort of wordlessly like, yes, there with you.
Mm-hmm. So I am like very mama bear right now. Like I am holding onto her.
Yeah,
and I look
just
up
like
at Benjamin.
You feel her soften, like her stiff tension melts just a little bit as you're holding her. Benjamin, yes.
Benjamin.
Lord Brimsley would like to speak with you, Miss Ria.
Of course he would.
I believe he wishes to make amends.
I don't think that's the case. Either way, he can meet me alone.
He actually insisted upon it.
On that, Della grabs Riafine's arm, like very tight, not like painfully, but like, oh fuck, you can't.
I think Thalia throws an eyebrow up, but I also think she pulls out her own coin that was given by Della to her and gives it to Riafine.
Riafine has one, doesn't she?
No, we gave it to Callum.
Oh yeah, you gave it to Callum. Okay, so Thalia gives her bloodstone coin to Riafine. Got it.
So I tuck it betwixt the bosom, and I smooth out Letitia's hair, and I give her a kiss on the forehead, and then I say, Benjamin, tell him to meet me in the courtyard. The one that
he'll look towards the other two. Alone.
Alone.
I'll know if you're not.
Benjamin, I don't have time for this, please.
And he turns and leaves.
I'm going to, I think we all just as a group kind of gather up. What was her name? Letitia?
Yes.
Keisha.
Just immediately into the fold so that she
Yes.
is protected.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like Victor's probably doing the hey, how you doing? Everything okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going full in like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking care
Mode,
of her
yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
And I
before.
look at
but-
them.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, what you're saying.
I was gonna say right before you walk away, I do whisper under my veil to follow as the blood homunculus slides down my side through the dress onto the ground and starts walking after you.
And
a
before
puddle.
I actually take off, like I look at you two, kind of like indicating like, hey, shadows on deck. Hey, blood homunculus on deck. Hey, like if anything happens to me, do not worry. Do not come for me. Make sure that they're protected and Callum is safe.
Thalia nods. There is, I think, just black fire in her eyes, where she is like, I'm gonna do my best not to lose my shit, you know, but she just allows for you to go. And I think if there's like an open room or open space, we'll sort of our mortals into that room so that
Sure.
they're at least somewhere, you know, not in the open hallway.
Okay. So you two in the mortals go in one room, Rhea with the blood homunculus hidden on them. We'll head to the courtyard or around the area where the garden/zoo was.
Can I say that the blood homunculus actually kind of twisted up my leg and is just kind of like chilling?
Sure.
Yeah.
Like on me?
If you would allow it, if you would have allowed it before, then
Yeah. So it's kind of like crawled into my shoe,
yeah,
my
You
boot,
got it, yeah.
which
Gross.
I'm about to fucking kick Adrian's ass with and make him kiss.
Okay. So you two in with one room, Rhea, you head outside, moving things along for the sake of time. You arrive. You don't have to wait long.
We're not.
Yes, go
Are
on.
we going to the room? Or are we going to go to where Callum is?
Callum's out
That's-
there too.
He's out there looking like
Okay,
a
That's
corpse.
where Rhea and them are going. Okay.
Yeah,
cool. Then
we
no
are.
worries.
We're just in a side room there.
As
I
long as
would like
someone
to,
gets eyes on him. I'm happy.
Yeah, I would like to say we pick a room that's maybe not too far away
Sure.
from that area. But are giving the respect of Rhea said she would go alone. We're not going to
We
make
could
her.
also just wander the courtyard area.
Well,
could
that's
do
the
that.
whole thing. We
Yeah.
could, but well,
For the blood homunculus, have to be within 100 yards.
okay,
So-
so
We would be whatever respectful distance.
yeah. Okay.
So you
Not
guys are
the
going to
same
try to
room.
tail then?
Not directly tail, no.
Quick
But
question.
if they're in the living room, we're in like the kitchen.
They're
Hold on.
outside. Are you going outside or
but-
are you staying inside?
Yeah, I thought we're not going
No,
outside.
okay, hold on here.
Oh my God.
Question.
Okay.
We have a courtyard, right, where this whole area
If
is.
you're outside the general vicinity, they're probably going to count that. So you could try to
Yeah.
go out and sneak and hope you're not caught, or you can
No,
wait inside.
Thalia could manage to do that by herself, she thinks, but it would be she doesn't want to make Rhea a liar. Do you know what I mean?
If we can't go outside without it being considered we're with Rhea, then we would not be outside. We would just be
Yeah.
inside,
Yeah,
like walking.
Benjamin
around.
would sort of be waiting by the door. Maybe you guys sort of wandered over there and he'd be like
Yeah.
alone.
And I think so a question of layout, is there spaces that are like near that area in which we could tuck our mortals into?
Near
You know what I mean? Like-
outside?
No,
it could be by the door.
Inside.
Yeah, there's tons and tons of rooms. You pick a room,
Okay.
you guys settle in. Yeah.
Yeah, I want them to be essentially I want like all the mortals in one space instead of having them like spread out and
Yeah, we could just put our mortals in a room and be like, if we leave, lock the door or some crap and don't open
Yeah.
it.
I mean, you guys could
Use
stay in the
password.
room for them unless you got to go. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay. You do that. Outside, Rhea, you arrive. Still no sign of anything, but no news might be good news in this case because there would certainly be a commotion if the werewolf was in action or discovered. Very shortly after, your friend Adrian arrives.
My friend.
It pains me to say this, but it seems you have bested me in this individual pursuit. And Phaedra loves you for some reason, and your friends, so it seems you might be in charge. And I don't want you to think I'm here begging for mercy of any sorts. I think we both know I can make your life quite miserable, even if I'm not in charge. And I assume if you want to rule, you want your rule to go smoothly. So I'm here to negotiate terms. It's all under the bridge, right? We're both sharks. We're both leaders. We both try to get what we want. We both tried, and I'm man enough to admit you've got me this time. So, I'm hoping there's no hard feelings and we can talk business. That's really what this is all about, right? Business. Nothing personal.
I smirk and I say, of course, Adrian. Water under the bridge.
I assume you're lying?
Yes.
You're not a great liar, but we'll see what happens here. Although he wants to believe it. Give me, let's do manipulation subterfuge is what lying is.
Oh, heck.
You could blood search.
So I have to do subterfuge manipulation.
Yes, please. If you want to surge, you gotta do it first.
Nope. I don't want to surge. I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care.
That's the message itself. 0 successes. He looks at you, and if possible, the undead gets a bit paler. I see. You really have your feelings hurt by all this, then.
I don't have feelings, Adrian. I only have vendettas.
That makes 2 of us, then. I'm gonna tell you what I told them inside. He looks you in the eyes. Kneel. Please. Give me intelligence resolve. And add 1 dice because of your discipline bonus. 6 messy critical. 8 successes. But this is the beast winning. So remember that dominate compulsion?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna come into play again here.
Good. I love that. I love that so much. I kind of just like, as he says it, I kind of laugh very like nonchalantly. And I say, you know, that has only worked twice in the bedroom there, Adrian. Seems that's not where we are.
No. I suppose not. Oh no, I'm sorry, arrogance. The venture arrogance compulsion will come into play. And it'll end when someone obeys an order from you. I suppose you're just exceeding expectations all around tonight. Fine, stay on your feet. You could stay pissed, that's fine. But either way, I know we have to work together. I know you have to work with me, and I'm sure that kills you on some level. But, as you reminded me, we do have good times. And we've had... Why can't we get back to that?
Oh, I would love nothing more. I'm actually kind of telling the truth. But I'm doing it for my own reasons. Don't worry about it, okay? I'm doing it for flavor.
Let's get a charisma persuasion here.
Of course.
Stunning applies.
So 2 plus 2.
4 successes. He sort of looks a little caught off guard and then like a wry smile again. That's what I was picking up. You're not angry. Well, you are angry, but you want to do what you always do when we're angry. Sure, we have time for that. And he begins to loosen his cravat. And he steps forward to you.
I smirk as I kind of like just teasingly like run a hand over his face. And then I say, you know what comes next now, Adrian? And I don't have to use dominate to do it.
He kneels.
See, I fucking don't. I smirk and I kind of like playfully like run a finger like down the center of his lips. Now, please, let me have some fun. It is a fantastic party and I've had quite the evening. So I take a little bit of like the tattered like bottom of the gown and I rip a piece off and I blindfold him if he allows. And as I do, like I will step around him and tie it off and lean down and almost whisper in his ear, you know, I have been quite hungry in other ways, of course. And you always have satisfied that hunger. I wonder, can you do so again? And she kind of laughs very coyly and like runs her lips down the side of his cheek to his neck. And like she'll pull his arms behind his back. Do you trust me, Adrian?
Not in the slightest.
Perfect. And so then I'll rip another piece of that gown off and like secure his wrists like behind his back.
Mm-hmm.
And I make sure that I tie it tightly. And then I run my fingers down his neck and his shoulder and like start like pulling his shirt back. And I lean over his shoulder and like I snake my arm down his chest. And I say, now I have a surprise, but there is no peeking. You know how I get when you peek?
You know I hate surprises.
Oh, you'll love this one, Adrian. How else are we supposed to hate fuck?
You are the expert.
Indeed, I am. And so from there, like, I'll kind of like drag my nails up his chest, just playfully, like enough to raise the skin without breaking it. And I take a few steps back.
And you can feel in your peripherals the creature behind you. You're not even sure when she approached. Almost the perfect predator in her full war form.
Mm-hmm.
Hot breath, just sort of, you can feel in the back of your neck now as you look over, and that werewolf is just leaned over.
Mm-hmm. I look up at her, and if she'll allow me, I kind of just like rest a hand on her head, and I nod. And I will move behind her and just stand there with a finger on my lip.
She takes a few steps towards him and looms over. Again, that hot breath breathing on him, and he sort of shudders a little bit. Oh, you are quite hungry, aren't you?
Yes, Adrian. Indeed, I am.
I'm afraid you're not the only one who brought a surprise, though. Benjamin.
So
Benjamin. There's no Benjamin.
in
And
fact,
then a moment later, he turns and he's again blindfolded. What's going? And he starts to struggle a little bit, and then he's just lifted easily in one hand by this werewolf. He goes, "What is going?" And then she just bites, and with both claws, just mouth on the head, one arm in one hand, leg in the other, just rips the limbs from the body, thrashing, pulling the head, tossing what's left of him towards you as he's already badly hurt and bleeding out, as then she just leaps on top of him and just starts destroying him as he's yelling out for help. That is not
See,
there.
Adrian, I told you I wasn't angry.
He kind of looks in his last moments, his blindfold ripped off, sees a fucking werewolf, and he goes, "You psychotic fucking..." And yeah, just finished off at that moment.
I think, right?
Yes, I am.
For flavor, right? That I imagine Thalia steps out of the room and is looking at Benjamin, who I imagine is probably like standing outside of where that courtyard leads out to.
The front door, sharp.
Yeah. And I think she's just peering at him for a second and says, "You don't want to help him anymore, do you?"
I'm not interested in speaking to you.
Why not?
I don't like speaking to anyone, really. Don't take it personally.
How fascinating. I'd love to know your damage.
I have to go. He
Do
sort
you?
of looks up and then begins walking.
The moment that he does that, if his intent, and so this is up to you, if his intent is to go to Adrian, this is
No,
where
he has waited. Adrian's no longer. He's waited till the deed is done.
Oh, I see.
And there's no
Okay,
reason for him
understand.
to guard the door anymore.
Understood.
As you would kind of know, or well, Della would know, because Della, your blood homunculus can send you images. You got
I've
all
seen
of that. You got all of that.
Yeah, every
Delicious.
so often you would get the we should no. We should not. Oh. We should go. No. Oh, there's another one. He's gone now.
With that, I think Thalia, just to tease this man, because he apparently don't like to talk to nobody, she'll wink at him before letting him go.
Yeah, just looks very
I ship
uncomfortable
it.
and shuffles away.
So cute.
He'll pause for a moment. If there is further room in Miss Riafine's employ, pass along that I may be interested. Maybe. And then he'll go.
She smiles too wide at that. I think like Della would be like, "Ooh." I think Della would know, like, oh, she's gonna absolutely eat him up. So yeah.
And during this time, any movement on the coin?
No.
Okay.
Everything's fine there. Riafine, I assume you return to your coterie?
Yes, but before I do, I look to this wolf companion of mine, and as she is done, like I kind of walk over to her and I smooth her fur and I kind of like clean her up a little bit, and I say, "I know you may not understand me, dear, but please know that I can and will be family for you now, just as you have become for me." And I kind of like stroke the face very gently with the back of my hand. And I start to walk away. And as I do, I turn around and I say, "You'll know where to find me. I will send for you, should you need a place to stay while you are here."
Sort of a nod of understanding.
Be careful. And I walk back towards Thalia and Della.
Okay. You are all gathered, and a moment later, servants at the door. We are ready for you now.
Lovely.
Should we bring our mortals with us? Or can
Yes.
they stay here?
They can stay here. That's fine.
Thalia will look to Elizabeth. Take care of her. Speaking of Letitia, who I'm sure is still like going through it right now.
Yeah.
Sure to lock or barricade that, or put something in front of the door when we leave, just to be sure.
I mean, you can bring them with you if you need. Can we go?
They'll be okay. The threats are gone for now.
We go.
And we move.
Into the ballroom again. It's a much different tone, feel here. There is no mortal and kindred side anymore. It's all kindred. Though many of the mortals were slain. Many did not seem to pass whatever this test of inner beauty was. As you see fresh Nosferatu strewn out across this area. Though not all of them. Some didn't make it. And are standing with the people they were brought with. The angel and Phaedra look up as you enter and you join the others. And there's another with them. An awkward-looking thin man, sort of inky black hair that's kept long but tied in the back, wearing a crimson robe instead of a white one, sort of hanging heavy on his rather thin frame. His robe's adorned with all sorts of like weird little mechanical trinkets moving on their own accord. Your eyes kind of drawn to this amulet on his chest, a circle, a ring, but with sort of metallic wings that seem to like slowly move on their own, as if slowly soaring. Handsome individual, but in a different way, not this weird ethereal beauty that Phaedra and the angel have.
Do I get anything off of them?
Oh yeah. You get the exact same energy that you got off those little birds you saw.
So I could probably just kind of assume that he made those birds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do I get anything with the cult from the symbolism he's wearing?
It fits with the Nephilim.
Okay.
He's just there, sort of this rather large book that he sort of is holding against his chest. As the angel speaks. We've seen everything that has transpired. Everything. And I'm sure it will come to no surprise as our choices become clear. If you wish, Riafine, Thalia, Della, you will serve the people of your domain as a triumvirate. You will usher in the dream of a better future, if you still wish to accept this.
I look to Thalia and to Della, refusing to respond just yet until I know their decisions.
You could feel the crowd's looking at you. That something about this last test definitely rattled some of them, though. There's sort of an uneasiness. A lot of people are sort of looking towards you, Riafine. The one person that's kind of been able to sometimes stand out and insert your will upon all this, whatever's going on. A lot of people are looking towards you to sort of see what the next move is.
Dahlia takes a second, and then she steps forward and stands next to Riafine. I'm with you. Always.
Della, much the same as Thalia, steps up. If this is the will, then it should be.
I place a very devoted hand on either shoulder. We accept.
Excellent. Puts his hand out. One of the servants hands him a rather large sword, which he easily wields with one hand, though it shouldn't be able to. Very quickly uses it like one of those small daggers. Cuts himself and offers his arm, his wrist, to the three of you. Amandulatore, a direct descendant of Michael. Leader of this tabernacle. Through having the blood of the Nephilim in you, you will be able to realize the dream.
I take a deep breath and I step forward, wrapping my lips around the open wound, and I drink.
It is ecstasy. It is warmth. It is. You begin involuntarily crying. Red tears coming down as this something just. This is the best thing you've ever tasted. It's like drinking enlightenment. And you barely had a sip, but it just hit you like a wave as you have to almost step back and, despite yourself, have to regain your composure for a moment after taking that drink.
I step aside and I look to both of them and I say, please do this of your own volition. I do not want you to feel forced into anything.
I think for a moment, Thalia thinks back on her life, her unlife, her time with the Sabbat, and looks at this individual. Is it safe to say that this is the exact kind of person that we would have been crusading to take out?
Who's we?
As when she was a part of the Sabbat, her pack and sort of the ideals there. Yeah. Thalia steps forward with that knowledge and takes a drink because she made a choice and she is not the woman she once was.
You drink?
Mm-hmm.
Same, similar. It's a weird lightness that comes into you, very different from the darkness in you, the literal darkness from the oblivion, the shadow, and also the Bahari. But for some reason, it works with it. Something here. There's something about seeing beauty in a more abstract way than others do, which you're used to seeing the beauty in things that others might find scary, repulsive, evil. Things are more nuanced than that, and there's that understanding, that eye-opening revelation. Not a revelation, you knew this, but an expanse of the mind that happens. Della.
Della hesitates for a moment, not originally fully wanting this, mostly wanting to support Thalia and Riafine, but knows that this is the chance for Tremere to help out, to let her clan back in, and looks at Riafine and Thalia for now, and then goes to drink.
Same thing. You're hit with this wave, and in your enlightenment, you also become aware. I mean, your magic's amazing. There's a lot of options there, but it's stilted by your curse. It's things that you don't have access to. True enlightenment in the sense how mages use it. But there's a barrier, not broken, but expanded a little bit, pushed against, almost opening a new door to new possible things that that you didn't think about that were previously held back by your blood. He looks out, and what the crowd sees is our triumvirate. An unnatural glow, not even sure where it's coming from, behind each of your heads. As everyone looks in sort of awe at the three of you, and all bow their heads respectfully, approving of the decision.
I grab onto Thalia and Della's hand and I squeeze it for comfort because although this is a good step and we've positioned ourselves, I am not fully convinced that we are going to be able to do the things we need to do of our own volition.
Dahlia squeezes back. Her eyes meet Riafine's, then Della's. She smiles, and it is not her normal, almost predatory smile. It is a true smile. And she says, "Till the end. Always."
Always.
And together.
Always.
The angel, Andreula Torre. I present to you your new triumvirate. The ones that will help these lands realize the new dream. Our Father, our Son, our Holy Spirit. It refers to Riafine, Della, and Talia. And the doors open. All sort of repeat this, and a celebratory sort of like applause, appreciation. Like there's an excitement, this swell of excitement of like, this is new, this is exciting, and these three are going to lead us into the unknown, but not the scary unknown, like things that weren't able to be realized before. Della, you are handed a book by the individual with the book. Grigori Lakaderos. They call me the Wonder Maker. I have been watching, and I was able to do what I do by reading this before I was turned. You seemed quite skilled. Perhaps you can make some sense of it.
She takes the book and doesn't open it yet and looks at it and looks at him. The creator of all the little birds. You have a wonderful gift. Thank you for sharing this.
Perhaps you can now build something wonderful and help improve this place. And he gestures, and as he does so, all the illusions drop, and you can see the place for what it really is. The ballroom's still quite beautiful, but a lot of the little extra lighting, flares, the uncompleted parts of this tabernacle are now revealed to be the true selves, as he was the one maintaining it all. This falls to you now.
Della goes full like geek at a library mode, going, "Oh, how did that one was fake too?" And like is like flipping through the book, like now just like studying the magic that she now can fully see is gone.
Talia, the angel hands you the sword he used to open himself. This contains a great weight. It's designed to destroy our kind. Use it responsibly.
I think Thalia understands the weight of that far better than everyone here. And she takes the sword, flips it so that the handle is now at her chest. And just in that knowing glance looks at him and says, "Thank you."
hands you, Riafine, the porcelain mask. You will be able to see the inner beauty of people and bring that out for them. You already had this, but now you'll be able to do this in a much more literal sense.
I smile as I take this and I nod. Yes, but if it is their choice.
Of course.
And
Now, go ahead.
I kind of just like look at it and then hold it against my chest as well.
Now the door flies open. Della, the stone is moving.
Which way?
Towards you, as Callum is the one. You would have noticed it a second before, but Callum is the one who opened the door.
I grab Riafine's arm and kind of direct Riafine towards the door.
Congratulations. Mithras is here.
That's Cal saying it?
Yes. And you can see he's in his vampiric form now. And that is where we will end our chronicle here.
No!
The three here being made the new triumvirate. You were inducted into the cult of Nephilim to take over England from Mithras under his nose while he was gone. Who knows what happens with our new leaders, but man, what the possibility! So many possibilities, and also, congrats to you three. That was
Holy shit!
I did not really. Yeah, I didn't see you guys making it to the end and make it to the end and being in charge without having to sacrifice your mortals or really give up any, like, fucking bravo. I'm terrible at torturing you guys. You guys just said no.
No, you almost killed me.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not hungry or aggravated.
That was good. You guys fucking killed it as I knew you would.
So good.
I was like, these guys are probably going to try to kill everyone and destroy the cult. I had a whole statted fight ready with the angel, but you guys just were like, you know what? This is ours now. I love it. Anyway, that's heaven and hedonism, which all probably makes a little more sense now. Another cult chronicle, this time dealing, as we know, with the Nephilim, the children of the angel. Very interesting cult that we got to explore some of their beliefs and rituals and whatnot. That these three are now a part of, as they've just drank ancient angel blood. Awesome. I'm very excited to talk about all this stuff. But first, let's tell the people who you are, where they can find you, and all of that good stuff. Same order, Raven.
Hi, I'm Raven, aka Wreck-It Raven. You can find me on the internet at Wreck-It Raven. Except for TikTok, it's Wreck-It.Raven. Not a long story, just an embarrassing one. I do a lot of tabletop stuff. I also play a lot of Final Fantasy 14. You can catch me outside. No, I'm sorry. I'm kidding. Honestly, like there's so much that I'm in. Please just follow me on Twitter so that way you can actually figure it out with me. Okay. Like I could go through the list, but we'll be here all night. So okay, thank you. And I play Riafine, who's a badass.
Truly. Speaking of badasses, Chastity.
Hello. Yeah, I fucking played Thalia. What's good? I do TTRPGs. I do this here on Table Goth. I do it at Table of Horrors and on Lanyup Gaming. A lot of VTM games and probably some other things in the mix too. If you'd like, follow me on social medias as the Risa Wraith. Twitter is where I post all of my which TTRPG I'm on that day stuff. So yeah, follow me there.
And April Raygun.
Hello and goodbye. This is done. I played Della, the bloody Tremere, who almost didn't make it, but she did, and now we're gods. Yeah, you can find me all over the internet as April Raygun. I don't know why Bully gave me a character with a position of power. You know, that's just going to go to my head and I'm going to use it against you in a later game that has nothing to do with this one whatsoever. Yeah, just follow me online. I don't know. I'm doing a bunch of stuff. I don't know when this is coming out. We got more Cathonic Kid goodness coming too. So see me and Bully argue on stream again very soon.
Right, get my revenge.
No, 'cause we're playing
Speaking
best
of
friends.
me, oh yeah, I'm me. I play best friends with everyone on. No, I don't. But I'm Bully. I'm here at Table Golf. If you're here, you know where to find me. Keep watching my stuff. Very much appreciate it. This has been amazing. Very glad I got to run this chronicle with these people specifically. Dream come true. Still worked out weirdly. Y'all are good at this. Y'all are so good at this. But yeah, that's it. That's all. This was Heaven and Hedonism. This was our final course in this chronicle. Please dine with us again soon. Bye.